Welcome to the Rebellious Noise Pro Wrestling channel. On this channel, we bring you some great content from inside and outside of the squared circle. We will go through and offer some in-depth analysis of the biggest events of the year, as well as bringing you exclusive interviews with some of the industry's biggest names. There will also be live show reviews, in-depth features, and podcasts. So make sure you give that subscribe button a slam so you don't miss any of the action. Hey, Happy New Year, everybody.
Happy New Year!
It is Dan here from the Rebellious Noise Pro Wrestling channel. I am joined on this day one of 2022 by Scott and Lucas. We are waiting on Rob. His bus is apparently 9 minutes away, so he should be home fairly soon. And then Rob will be jumping on and joining us for this day one edition of
that bank holiday travel, mate. That bank holiday travel.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I didn't even realize it was Saturday today. It's just been this time of year, just all for me blurs into one. But yeah,
me too, mate.
Yeah. So how are you guys doing anyway? Happy New Year. First
Happy New Year, man.
To say it to you guys like on camera sort of thing. So
yeah, and to the viewers, of course. But yeah, it's been a while, man. It's been a while since we've done something like this. We were talking offline earlier about how just setting up the stream and that is just like real kind of rusty at the moment. And then we're starting this, and I'm thinking, are we doing it? Is everything not? It's been so long, man. That's what not having a December pay-per-view does to you.
Yeah,
it's been 6 weeks, isn't it?
Yeah, Survivor Series was the last one, wasn't it?
Obviously, we don't cover NXT, so obviously NXT had the event in December, didn't they? They did War Games. That was the one.
Whatever it was called. Yeah, that was all right though. It was a good pay-per-view.
War Games.
A
lot of changes, obviously, to that brand. Obviously, over the past couple of months, a lot of changes to the main brand as well. Actually, as we're going to delve into later on. But yeah, like obviously, guys, let us know your thoughts as well. Like if you're watching this, we like to hear your comments and stuff. As we go along. I must admit though, like obviously, I know we're going to get into this as we say this, but I do think I'm quite excited about tonight in a weird way because it kind of feels like to me like it's an actual pay-per-view, like a pay-per-view that exists. Not to go to the gimmick, if that makes sense. Like obviously there is a bit of the gimmick there with the day one and New Year's, and obviously people, older fans who, well, we all are to be fair, will remember obviously they tried New Year's Revolution, obviously in the 2000s, and so it isn't the first kind of foray into this, doing a New Year's pay-per-view. Back then, obviously the buy rates those events weren't the best, but I think now they have the network. It's not too much of a hurdle now because they have network subscribers. It makes sense to do something on the first day of 2022. They've already given you as a subscriber a pay-per-view event. They ticked off their kind of commitment. They're giving you a pay-per-view event on the first day of the year. And it'll be interesting, obviously, if it works and it goes forward this way. But yeah, for me, it feels like an actual pay-per-view. Like it's got matches that have been built up to. They're not having to be forced into doing gimmicks because it's October and they need the Hell in a Cell. It's survived, November now. They've got to care about brand split. It's like and it's had a long build, like a 6-week build, which back in my day, like that. I wish though it was huge. You know what I mean? Like especially the big ones. I don't know if you guys share the same sentiment, but that's why.
I feel like with like you said, a 6-week build. I guess it's the calendar that's kind of favoured that, but it's meant it's a new pay-per-view that's got an established kind of like go at it. Do you know what I mean? Like, so was you kind of seeing it as like more of a, we'll say like a crown jewel, but we've said this past few months that crown jewel's become a legit pay-per-view now. It feels like. Was you seeing it as like the early days of crown jewel, those kind of network specials then when you first kind of heard about it?
Not in that way, but just obviously usually when their pay-per-views have a gimmick attached to them, you kind of get the feeling that they want to sell the gimmick more than the pay-per-view / match. But I do think this year in 2022 we are gonna. I feel so weird saying that this year 2022.
Get used to it, mate.
Yeah, I do think this year in 2022 we're going to see it looks like they are shying away from these gimmick pay-per-views, isn't it? They haven't announced any gimmick one for this year, apart from Money in the Bank, which I think we discussed before. We said that we feel that even though it's a gimmick pay-per-view, it is kind of above the other gimmick pay-per-view ones, because it warrants it. And I think the Chamber does too, because I mean, where else are you going to have the Chamber? Like, it kind of has to be a set thing because it's such a big structure. So they can't just wink, just throw it onto a random pay-per-view. Because I think they said with the structure, it's so big, only certain arenas or stadiums could obviously even house it. So you need to obviously pre-announce that. But I do think like Extreme Rules and stuff like Clash of Champions and even Hell in a Cell, like I think it just needs to go. Because their competition AEW obviously doing less pay-per-views, but just doing good wrestling essentially, and having that as the sell point. And WWE, they could do the same thing that they want to without the bells and whistles, and plus events like TLC, Extreme Rules, just asking for injuries to an extent. I think, we're pretty much just guaranteeing injuries in a certain month of the year, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think it's quite like it's an interesting kind of concept as well. Because I know they've said about like it being an annual tradition kind of thing. So, be interesting to see though, like in coming years, when like the 1st of January is on, say, like a Wednesday or a Thursday. It's like, are they going to have a pay-per-view on those days? Obviously, we know Crown Jewel, they do it normally on a Thursday anyway. But yeah, it'd be interesting. I mean, we touched a bit on like New Year's Revolution. Wasn't that the one where they did it in like Puerto Rico and like, was it 2 people got injured in like the first 2 matches or something, or the first show? And obviously where Edge. I
think New Year's Revolution was definitely the States, wasn't it? Both years.
I think, yeah. I remember there was one that there was what was the pay-per-view that they did in San Juan, Puerto Rico? Because I know that, there's definitely someone got injured, or a couple of people got injured on there. And then there was, I think Edge. Did Edge win the Edge won the first Money in the Bank there as well, didn't he?
He cashed in. Yeah, that was when. The first cash in, and obviously that was when Vince obviously came out and announced that the cash in was going to happen, and obviously modelled what would become, obviously what would happen after that. You're right. So the first event was in Puerto Rico. Yeah, you're right. But again, it was. I actually thought it was on New Year's Day, but no, they did choose the Sunday, the first kind of Sunday into the year on all 3 occasions to do it. So it ran traditionally on the traditional Sunday slot. So it's hard because they called it day 1. So I mean, next year they're going to be lucky where January 1st is going to be on a Sunday.
Yeah.
And then it'll be on a Monday though. So what they do, like cancel Raw, like to have day 1, I don't know. It just raised a question of that. But I do think midweek pay-per-views, like they've tried it before. Again, we're not going into territory. They had Taboo Tuesday, didn't they? Back in the 2000s. They also tried some Tuesday and Thursday. Well, was Survivor Series actually? Survivor Series used to be in the week, of Thanksgiving. So it never was Sunday. Traditionally, back in the late 80s and the early 90s. So it's not their first foray into this. And I guess I've always said this about a network, to be fair. Like, if you've got a network, you can technically do events whenever you want. Like, but I think they're insistent to stick to this timetable of like, pay-per-view is on a Sunday, because I haven't wanted to annoy, top brass at the pay-per-view companies. But I'd argue now that they probably see their business as, well, we're kind of above pay-per-view in a way, because we don't need to rely on those buy rates as much as we used to because we've got our network. But I'm looking forward to, it's a good question though. Good question to see what would happen in a couple of years' time when it falls on a Monday or Tuesday. If there was, but I'm in favour of pay-per-views on different days anyway. To be fair, I think it doesn't have to be set. That has to be. I'm sorry.
They'll probably just forget all about it. They'll be like, "Oh yeah, it's just a concept that happened a couple of years, and we'll just brush over it." Yeah, we'll just be like, "Yeah, next year will be and any time that it's on like the Saturday or Sunday." So,
but yeah, I think it's an interesting time to do a pay-per-view. Obviously, we're just off the back of Christmas and New Year's and stuff, and I feel personally like as well, like I guess what they could use it for which is what I think they will use it for this year, is as a kind of Rumble setter-upper event, because we haven't really had that. Like before, when I used to do, I miss these matches when they used to do the matches of like the winner gets the number 30 spot, the loser gets number 1 spot, stuff like that, or just build up to it, or people qualifying for the Rumble match. Even though, as we know, WWE, the qualifying to stuff is very weird because people have to either win tournaments or things, or they have to just go to the GM and say, "Can I have a title match?" Like it's really weird. But I think it could, because there was that weird period in WWE like that existed for the past 10 years, in my opinion, where between tables, legs, and chairs pay per view and kind of like the last 2 weeks of January, nothing really happened. Because they'd already come off the back of a pay-per-view in December and then went into Christmas weeks, which, as we know, in WWE are still very different, with obviously a lot of repeats, a lot of holiday, kind of Christmas-themed matches, and not really storyline-driven. And then it will take them a couple of weeks into the new year to shake that off, because they remember they've got WrestleMania tickets to sell still. And then the Rumble happens. And it's a case of they know the Rumble is solid. Why are we a different view? We are live, that's what happens. The Rumble, they got off with the fact that, it would sell out, it would sell it on its name alone, I guess. But there's all that weird period. Now, I guess that period can shorten because day one's going to happen tonight. And effectively on Monday, like they're going to have to obviously start pushing towards the Rumble.
It is a weird time, yeah. Yeah.
Very, very strange. Because, normally they're, the Rumble stuff would be, I guess, there was talk maybe like doing something like a Survivor Series thing where like the winning team would get like the last 5 spots or something.
But that's what we were hoping, yeah.
Yeah, it's just one of those like weird concept things, isn't it? At the minute, as to like what they're doing and that. But it's strange, obviously not having anything in December. It's just like, what's happening?
Well, I think they had an NXT, didn't they? So they thought
maybe, stuff
out.
Yeah.
Was that in front of a crowd? War Games must have been,
yeah, small crowd
at the PC place. Okay,
the Capital Wrestling Center.
That's it, yeah. That's the
CWC. So,
but
and then they got the New Year's Evil coming up as well on this Wednesday as well, which the card for that looks good. They've got AJ Styles on there. Matt Riddle.
I had no idea.
There. What?
Wow.
Yeah. AJ Styles versus Grayson Waller on NXT New Year's Evil.
That should have been before the New Year.
And then they've got Imperium, so including Walter, taking on MSK and their new shaman, who is friend of the channel, Matt Riddle. And you can obviously go back and watch my interview with Riddle. Obviously, when me and Scott went to interview a number of WWE talents back at the Wembley show.
It was like years ago, doesn't it?
Yeah, it was like...
It was now a year ago. It was last year. But
that was so last year, those interviews, man. So last year. But, so, NXT, obviously, they're trying to make, I guess, a big deal out of it. Obviously, we saw Grayson Waller on Raw as well this week.
This is why I need later SmackDown, because I have no idea what's gone on now. Okay, so they're setting that up as well. Okay, well, having that, so they might have some sort of segment or advert for that tonight, I'm guessing, because if it features main roster stars, because Riddle's in the match tonight, isn't it? Yeah.
Riddle. I don't think AJ is, because there was talk it was going to be AJ versus Omos as well, but that's not announced as of recording. Nothing's been announced there, but
that will happen on Raw, I reckon. That will happen on Raw, then that will obviously G up. Yeah. Okay. Well, that's somewhat interesting. But it did feel weird not having a December pay-per-view. It was a long gap. But I'm hoping it's been worth the wait. And obviously, we could get 2 this month. One at the end of the month.
It's a long month as well. That's so it kind of helps.
They bookended it. Now, this may sound very weird, and I guess it is potentially one for our Rumble discussion. But I think the Rumble needs to go to 2 nights.
Oh, that's a controversial.
Because they've got the
Lewis.
women's and the men's Rumble matches.
I called you Lewis. Yeah.
I honestly, I was trying to watch. I was just skimming through the networks before we started, and all the last few Rumble pay-per-views are pushing 5 hours, and I think it might be time. Like I think they might be using WrestleMania over 2 nights to see kind of how that will fare, and it's fared quite well. But I think it's so long doing 2 Rumbles in one night now, and they can't not have like other matches. I guess they couldn't just have like 2 Rumbles back to back.
Yeah, but then go on.
No, I was gonna say it's just awkward where you've got like the 2 Rumble matches that both go in an hour each. So
yeah.
But do like, I mean, I'm not a fan of the 2-night thing anyway. I don't like Wrestle Kingdom doing it. I think they're getting 3 nights this time around as well. I don't like the Rumble Mania doing it, but I could see it's it's here. Sometimes you got to embrace it, and maybe that's the fact. Yeah, I can see it now because the Rumble they could do that, and you could argue then Survivor Series could become 2 nights as well because they can do the 5 and 5 and spread that, even though they've not really done much for the pay-per-view anyway. Then SummerSlam would easily go to 2 nights as well if everything else has gone 2 nights. So maybe your big 4 become 2 nights.
No, I think out of the ones that are remaining to go 2 nights, obviously WrestleMania might go back to 1 night. I don't think it will. It just doesn't make any logical sense, any financial sense for it to go back to 1 night after going to 2 nights for the past couple of years. But the Rumble one makes the best sense. Survivor Series is like the secondary one, I guess, but I think they've kind of works over 1 night because I guess the only way the brand supremacy thing works is over the 1 night, I'd argue, unless they were to be able to set up like a cliffhanger, like obviously if say for instance there's 7 matches and then you have obviously it's a tie on the first night,
Yeah, but it's hard to sell the second night. This is where I think
based on it being a tie.
New Japan struggle with a similar kind of thing. They're like, oh, if such and such wins, then it's like I just want to know what the main event is. Will I get that match that I want to see? It's kind of like when they did it with Daniel Bryan at the opening match in the end. That was you kind of knew, but at the same time you kind of just I'd like to be told this is the main event for the biggest show of the year.
WrestleMania as well.
Yeah,
that's obviously some high stakes kind of put on a big show like that. But also this is why they mentioned on the Ruthless Aggression series, which is why they got rid of the Taboo Tuesday concept in the first place, because fans need to know what's the attraction or what's the match in the day. And as much as I really still feel that they should bring back interactive elements to what they're doing, because I think definitely like they've got the social platform to do so. I mean, I looked it up. To think WWE is within the top 5 YouTube channels in the world, like as a wrestling company.
Wow.
Yeah. You top. One of the top YouTube channels in the world. And we know what they do for numbers. They do for like Twitter followers and all that kind of stuff. Like it's massive, and like so their outreach they have for an interactive pay-per-view, like an interactive event, will be quite huge. But I can see why it is difficult because if you're faced with, if for instance I really like steel cage matches, you might really like something else, and so might Dan. But it's like a case of I'm more likely to watch something if I know that I'm getting a steel cage match versus anything else. And that's the problem. And again, we're having the random opponents. Like people want the matches. You don't want, and obviously the fixing element came into it too. But I don't know. Like they kind of didn't had a lot of surprises at first with those events. So people who
I really enjoyed them. I mean, sometimes it was obvious, like you steel cage match, tables match. Or kind of what was it, like a kendo stick? Who's going to pick a kendo stick match unless it was like Steve Blackman? Do you know what I mean? Like, so they steered you in the right direction a lot of times. But that one where like Shelton won the IC title without knowing he was even in the match, like that was an incredible moment. And I like the fact they did stuff like that on the fly. It was very exciting. And hearing that on the Ruthless Aggression thing was great. But like you said earlier though about the whole day, which day is the pay-per-view on? Is that an issue? That was a problem before with Taboo Tuesday and stuff like that. Day one. It has to kind of be on a first now. It can't unless they're going to just scrap it when it's not a Saturday or Sunday now. But I agree with what you guys were saying earlier. Like the network, it's perfect time to kind of mess around with these things, and like buy rates ain't what they were anyway. So it's like someone will watch it. Like if you could put a Raw on a Monday, why can't you put a pay-per-view on a Monday nowadays? Well, maybe that is the problem as well. Raw would kind of not happen. But then again, SmackDown technically didn't really happen this week, did it? Because it was the New Year's celebration, I think. Was it or?
Yeah, so it's a recap thing. So they basically kept down like the best moments. Yeah, but then look at like, was it what was it? Was it WrestleMania when they did WrestleMania Smackdown as well? And it was like they, oh yeah, we'll try and.
I'll be trying to leave that in 2021, man. Why are you bringing that up?
Surprised they didn't do like NXT WrestleMania as well, just to like chuck that one in as well. But
it is very odd though, because a few years ago, didn't USA Network kick off because WWE wanted to do replays on Christmas Day when Christmas Day was on a Monday, or Tuesday, one of the two, and USA Network kicked off saying that no, you need to do a live show, and they'd had to do like a live Raw, live SmackDown, whatever it was, with a skeleton crew or people who wanted to work actually live on Christmas Day. But so it's interesting to think that Fox last night were just like, just put on replays, and so that, again, we've got to be looking at a couple of years down the line, like they're thinking about that, because I think, it's a stressful time, as much as obviously we're looking at it from the outside, but their schedule is insane. Like, and to think, they're working over Christmas and stuff. So it'd be nice to see if they're not running shows on that Christmas week, good for the wrestlers get to see their families and stuff. But I do feel that, like it's probably USA Network who would block a pay-per-view from happening on a day that they're contractually meant to be there, which might affect it somewhat.
Yeah,
so it might be
I could see him making it a Raw day one instead to kind of get around that, like a special. Yeah, so maybe that's what
they could do. We're in a weird era now, like I said, because obviously going back to obviously like Hell in a Cell, like last year, with obviously these Roman Reigns getting the one on SmackDown before the pay-per-view, a very weird event that, and then Raw obviously kicking off saying that, well, we want it. USA Network saying we want obviously big matches on our product too, and then obviously them doing cage matches throughout the summer to obviously try and get the ratings up. And it's very odd that the TV networks still obviously have so much power, obviously, even in an era where they're not important on the most part, to most regular viewers, you know what I mean? Oh, we lost you.
Which one?
We'll take your silence as you agreeing.
Can you hear me? No?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, a bit better. Try.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Hey!
I don't know what happened. It's like nothing's changing, but just keep saying your mic's come unplugged, and it's like it's not. So I don't know, some sort of glitch.
Mine's been showing up the exact same like amount of time that this has been going on for about half an hour nearly. So
what do you mean?
That's kind of weird. Where it's got so in our top corner it says live, and
how long we've been live for and stuff.
Yeah, mine still says live. Okay, 6 minutes and 17 seconds.
Right, so there's definitely something going wrong with the software. Okay, cool.
It's not just you, don't worry. StreamYard are like, it's not you, it's me. So oh, that just kind of froze again.
Right, I'm
back. We don't know what's going on. So he's leaving and coming back. So yeah, I mean, I think it'd be interesting to see them explore. I mean, I do think that the potential of the network hasn't been really delved into, because I mean they ran. Was he back?
Am I back?
Yes, you are.
Hey,
yay!
So because they ran obviously Crown Jewel on Thursdays and Fridays. They ran the Japanese event, wasn't it? That was on Saturday morning. And obviously they've done some UK shows, obviously, and NXT in London.
Potentially, later this year.
No, I'm talking about but previously. But NXT.
Yeah, I'm saying maybe.
Yeah, and obviously maybe something later this year. So my point was, Scott, was about, they have obviously flirted with obviously other days in certain events or other times, but in my opinion, I don't feel they use the network to its full advantage.
Definitely
to give us
not.
the most amount of content. I feel in some ways, definitely with the archives, like they're definitely holding a lot of it back. As obviously they want to go through with a fine-tooth comb and make sure that, the footage goes out that they want and how they want it to look like. But definitely with current content, I think that there's definitely more that they could do, because outside of pay-per-views, we've had a couple of international specials, and when they've done like Starcade and You know, things like that, which have just been basically house shows.
Yeah, and even that they could have done a lot more with it. I want a Saturday night's main event. I want that kind of like, it's not a pay-per-view, it's not a Raw, somewhere in the middle. That's, you know, like, why don't they do? And it felt like they were doing that with that Japanese show before, the Australian show as well. But I'm with you, man. They're not using a network. I know it's not a network to the Americans anymore. It's Peacock, but still, they're not using that to their full kind of potential. And yeah, it's a real shame.
Yeah, they just need to do the big pay-per-view over here, didn't they? So
yeah, well, hopefully it's still that September one's still not been kind of, you know, booked down as anything. But
yeah,
hopefully it will be us.
I mean, I think outside of the big, well, Class in Money in the Bank, the big five, they've not announced any other pay-per-views. Like they've announced all of those, like the dates and the venues for every single one of them so far, and nothing else outside of that. So it's good because it makes them feel like a big deal. It's like,
well, it's not good for us though, boys, when we're trying to plan streams. But
yeah, true.
For the fan, it's exciting.
We have the dates. I mean, obviously, I guess.
Oh, yeah, I guess we do. Yeah, I get what you're saying, but I'm sure they'll add some in there that we don't know.
Yeah.
Your
mic's gone again, by the way. So we have radio silence again from silence from Scott again. So
hello.
I don't know what I'd like though.
Jamie.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'll keep cutting in if I jump out. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, I don't know if they would go to all new ones though, or would they go for, well, back in time, I guess, and go and dig back some of the old pay-per-view names up. I don't know what one. What
like Vengeance, Unforgiven, Judgment Day,
Fully Loaded,
Insurrection.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know which way I'd like them to go with it. To be fair, I guess they have to do new ones, I guess, because it's not like they've had those events and they've just finished them. Like, a lot of those events finished years ago, you know, and I think all it would do is just make people go back and watch that stuff.
Well, they've got day one. They could just go with new one. Number one. They'll do like WrestleMania Backlash. They'll do a Money in the Bank recap or something, and yeah, just keep going.
Interestingly, we were talking about New Year's Revolution earlier. I just checked that they actually used that name as the name for their tour they did at New Year last year.
Okay.
Yes, it was a New Year's Revolution tour. They did not last year. They started 2020 actually. They did, that was the name of the tour. So it's interesting to think how many of these names they do actually still use, and they brought back Backlash obviously a few years back. So things kind of don't really go away, even when you think they do. They brought back like stuff like King of the Ring, obviously. that's always popping about. So I guess they could choose old ones, or maybe a mix. I don't know. But it'd be interesting to see, because they haven't announced Chamber yet, have they? And obviously, you think that's someone they'd announce, because that's
usually February, isn't it? So
yeah.
I mean, you don't, because I think, is WrestleMania March or April this year?
It's April 3rd, isn't it?
April, yeah. April, yeah. 2nd, 3rd of April, yeah. So, yes, I don't know what, because then you got to think they'll probably do something in February, but then are they going to do something 2 weeks maybe after the Rumble? Then possibly something in March.
Usually that's Fastlane, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's just it being a road, aren't they?
Yeah,
they've had Roadblock, I think, as well. No, that was December. They had Roadblock in December.
Roadblock End of the Line, was it, that one?
Yeah.
It's just randomly randomly weird the way they just throw some of these in, and yeah, it's just, I guess, they just, yeah, as we say, like recycle bits and pieces. So yeah. So yeah, should we get into some predictions?
Yeah,
we've not done any yet. Obviously, for those of you that are used to watching, you'll know that we usually do a predictions video first. But obviously, it being the holiday season, our families were enjoying spending time with us. So
yeah, we couldn't drag ourselves away,
Yeah, we had other commitments, unfortunately, that meant we couldn't bring them there. But we are going to still do the predictions now. Rob obviously has he sent us in his ones, and hopefully should be joining us at some point. But we are going to kick things off, as WWE will kick things off, with the pre-show match, or kickoff show, sorry. And that is between Ricochet teaming with Cesaro to take on Sheamus and Ridge Bloody Holland. Yorkshire's finest, Ridge Holland. So I'm going to roll the dice. First time this year, who are we going to get? Let's see. It is number 4, which is Rob. So works out quite well. So Rob's prediction for this one is Cesaro and Ricochet.
Okay.
So then
that's on to you then, right?
Flips round to me. So for me, see now I think it's going to be Sheamus and Ridge Holland. I mean, purely because I think, you're building them up as this unit together. You're sticking them in there with obviously, Sheamus and Ridge obviously are a thrown together team, but putting them in there against Cesaro and Ricochet,
even more thrown together.
Yeah, even more I mean, look at how the bar started out as well.
That was a really weird way you said those two words together. You said the bar started. I was like, what did you just call them?
The
bar started.
Okay.
There we go.
That's strong language, my friend.
Don't worry. Yeah. I think it's going to be Sheamus and Ridge Holland. I think because they seem like they're investing a little bit in this kind of unit between the two guys. So purely for that reason. I doubt you're going to be watching much of this, Scott, because it's your cooking time, isn't it? So what's on the menu tonight?
Was it pizza's on the menu tonight? But I'll try and catch what I can.
Ordered or making?
Oh no, making in the pizza oven, isn't it? You know how we do. I'm not sure about this one because did you see on Twitter? I think it was on Twitter. They asked for a team name for these two as well. So let that kind of brew in your minds for a bit as well, guys. Let's see if you can come up with a good team name. But that could have just been a social media person trying to, especially, I don't know which account it was. It might have been a Fox one, for example, or the BT Sport one, who tend to just do their own kind of thing that you think WWE wouldn't post themselves. So I can't remember where I saw it, but either way, I saw it. So let's think about that as we go along. But I'm kind of with you, Dan. I was thinking, the feel good, happy opening the pay-per-view. But at the same time, Ridge Holland and Sheamus are clearly a unit. They're clearly pushed and branded as a unit, and it's going to be a good tool to get Ridge over, and it's definitely doing that. So, I'm going with that as well. I agree with you, mate.
Cool. I will lock that in.
Yeah. I guess you got a lot of king of the pre-shows here, haven't you, in this match? Cesaro, Ricochet, Sheamus, even to be fair, as great as he is. I think, again, I have to preface this by saying, all predictions are saying this, that I haven't watched weekly WWE television in months now. I keep up to date just with little clips or whatever that get sent to me or that I see online. But it just seemed that, even looking at the graphic, that you've got a clearer tag team or at least alliance. And they seem to like this whole alliance thing that's going on, this Ridge Holland, this kind of looking for more of a gritty, kind of gangstery, kind of old school kind of villain now. The Sheamus merged into that, obviously, last year.
When he became Thingy from Snatch,
had these bar fight stuff with Jeff Hardy and, obviously throughout the year. And I think it's theirs to lose, really. I think personally Ricochet's in there to take the pin, most likely. As much as Cesaro, Cesaro's the bigger guy, and I guess if they want to do when they do a rematch of this, obviously then Cesaro gets pinned in that, I guess. But I'd go for Sheamus and Ridge to win.
Clean. Can't get my words out. Clean sweep. Then was that all four of us?
No, Rob said Cesaro and Ricochet.
Oh, okay.
Let me see.
Oh,
I'm just double checking. Yes, Cesaro and Ricochet.
Okay, cool. So a chance for us all to break away from Rob on this early going. Cool. Anyone? Any thoughts on a name yet? I know I've only just mentioned
team was it.
For I should have said that.
Yeah,
the other guys didn't have a name. Cesaro and Ricochet.
Oh.
Cesaro and Ridge, Holland.
No, what? No, Cesaro and Ricochet.
Oh, Cesaro and Ricochet, right.
Yeah.
I guess it's got to be something superhero related, I guess, isn't it? Surely, because...
Oh, that's quite good, yeah.
Isn't Cesaro meant to be...
Yeah, the Swiss Superman, and... Do they call Ricochet something like super something? But they just act like
he's done a superhero costume before. What costume did he do?
Yeah. Let's call him... I feel really disrespectful. I was going to say the Super Pre-Show.
Well...
Hey, I love both those guys. But you're right, as you said, Lucas. This is, a lot of these guys are just put to the pre-show these days. So, or the kickoff, as they call it. So we'll call him Super Kickoff. Super Kickoff. That's my name for him. Super Kickoff.
Just trying to think of one.
We'll come back. Don't worry. We'll come back.
Remember that weird phase I had when every team had to be called Team something, like Team Hell No?
Oh,
it wasn't actually called Hell No.
Yeah, you'd imagine it'd be Team RK Bro or something like that. Yeah,
they've gone off that phase now. But
yeah. Bless them. They do go through some weird phases, don't they?
They do indeed. Just trying. I'm just trying to think. So you got obviously. There we go. Swing and spring, because you got Cesaro.
Swing and spring. I like that. I like that.
There you go.
We've got coming here from Football Scout and Report. Just wants a little bit of background information here. What time does the pay-per-view begin? Here in the UK, 1 a.m. Wherever you are, I don't know. So, yeah. If you mean football the way we mean football, possibly 1 a.m. for you as well. If you mean football in the way that other people mean football.
The wrong people.
The wrong way.
Come on, guys. We don't want to lose them.
It's not football.
Okay, let's move on. Let's move on. I know coming from. I come from. Now coming here. Awesome. From Winter. Thank you. I hope you're talking about us.
But then he could also be talking about one of the participants in the next match we're going to predict.
Here we go. Look at that. Smooth as, Dan. Smooth as. Mate, we've been off for 6 weeks, but you ain't missed a beat.
It's my job. My one job to put that. So yeah, the Miz and Edge, obviously we've seen, is the next match. These guys going back and forward on Monday Night Raw. Obviously, the disrespect being shown from Miz. The big return of the Miz as well. Actually, we've not seen him since he participated in Dancing in the Stars over in the US. That's obviously their version of Strictly Come Dancing if you're in the UK. So Miz and Maurice are both back. So for me, I've got a feeling this at some point is going to lead to Edge and Beth Phoenix versus Miz and Maurice. Most likely in a couple of months at WrestleMania, if they decide to eke it out that long. But we've got to get there first. So let's see who is going to go first in this one. I've just got to be quite careful with this because I've got a cat staring at me.
Oh, she's going to attack it. Oh, it's Rob again who's not here.
Well, ironically, Rob's prediction for this, he is going for the most awesome man in WWE. He is going for The Miz because he is The Miz and he is awesome.
Indeed.
I feel as though I have to agree. I feel as though I have to agree with that, actually, because, yeah, it's always one of those things that when a new kind of feud starts, they normally give the villain like the upper hand to start with, and then the babyface will then come back and win the day overall. So I think eventually it is going to lead to Edge and Beth beating Miz and Maurice at some point, but yeah, for this one, I feel as though the Miz is going to win. So yeah, I'm with Rob on that.
Yeah, you've pretty much said everything I wanted to say. So I think I'm going to leave it at that. Other than saying I'm happy to see the Miz back, I'm definitely happy to see Maurice back. I think she's one of the most underrated women they've had in the past 15, 20 years. She was great in that weird Divas period. Yes, I'm always happy to see her, and I think they work very, very well together. And yeah, I'm very excited to see Beth Phoenix come back with Edge. I'm sure it's happening. Whether or not it's at Mania, I was thinking this earlier because same reason I think Maurice is going to get involved. She's going to help him win. I'm not going to say that's a bonus point. Don't worry, guys. But I do feel like, Yeah, I think she'll probably play a hand, and that's why Beth gets involved. If not here, maybe there's a normal win here, or like a dodgy win, or draw, and then at Rumble, because again, we got to go to Rumble first. It does feel like a Mania thing, but they could just blow off the whole feud at Rumble, and then Edge goes to something else for Mania, which is also a possibility. So, yeah, at first I was thinking Edge winning would be, well, it makes sense. It's not for a title. It's not going to hurt anyone. This is fine. Two kind of like old school guys. I know different generations, but still Miz has been there for a very long time. But yeah, but then the whole Maurice factor and Beth Phoenix thing, I think surely, yeah, Miz is going to win.
I've got the other way. I think Edge is going to win. I think that this will be one of the ones that will lead directly into the Rumble, because there's lots of things you could do in the Rumble match. I think, and a lot of them, I think, comes from Edge winning this one. I think if Edge wins, Miz can obviously be peeved at that, and then could eliminate him. Miz could maybe not even qualify for the Rumble. Then obviously eliminate Edge. Obviously, we had the whole thing of Edge last year going from number 1 to winning it, and that could be rehashed with them obviously being the first 2 in the Rumble potentially. Then obviously Miz getting eliminated and come back eliminating him. There's lots. So I feel basically there's like loads they could do in the Rumble match in this feud, and there's more that they could do, I guess, because if Miz wins, like, it's hard for a babyface to kind of then find their way back into the picture, you know, in a way that still makes them that like a babyface. But I'm also with you, Scott, like they could blow this off all the long, to be fair, and then give Edge someone new, because, you know, I think they have to look at the fact that Edge isn't getting younger, and they can't be having. I remember my criticism of him last year was every match had to be like half an hour, and every feud had to be like 6 months. And it's just like, he's not young. Like, what are you doing? Like, you can't just have 6-month feuds with everyone, because there won't be any time left. That's why, much as obviously that he gets a bit of flack, but someone like Goldberg, like, it was handy because you're just like, well, okay, come back for a month, have one match someone, then they go away and just come back again in 6 months' time, you know, with another match. I think they need to find that balance with Edge, because there's lots of matches people want him to have, but whenever they get to them, if every feud is 6 months, because even this one now, it's been going since like basically the whole Dancing with the Stars thing. If they go through to Mania again, that's now a 6-month feud, you know, with a part-time wrestler who's then going to disappear until SummerSlam, do you know, and then have another 6-month feud, and then win 2023. And they just had like Eddie only faced like 4 people.
Yeah. It'd be a waste of his like second portion of his career, and bring it like you want it to be more like the Shawn Michaels kind of, you know, second portion than what we're seeing at the moment. I'm going to quickly jump into this comment, because at first I thought it was another suggestion for the team name we were talking about earlier with Ricochet and Cesaro. Because it said combat. I thought, oh, what's this? Quite interesting. But then I realized, no, I think it's French for just like, when does the fighting start?
It's just actually French. Du matin is 2 in the morning if you're in France.
Yeah, but are they in France? They could be in like French,
another
Canada,
French-speaking country.
Exactly, yeah, but yeah, there are many.
All the same time.
They are right.
See,
so,
and that's why I got my GCSE in French, boys. Exactly in moments like this.
So, if you do have an idea yourselves for this team name for Cesaro and what's his face, Ricochet, let us know. Because we don't really know when it's. Google's your friend. Google's your friend. But we appreciate you watching anyway. But we had to do a bit translating there. That's above our pay grade. So, but we'll try.
Wait, we get paid for this? Yeah, Mr. YouTube, if you're watching, send some moolah our way, yeah?
Or Mrs. YouTube.
Yeah.
Or Mrs. Who knows? Right, so what was the thing there? So, your Edge, us two in the Miz, and Robert was...
The Miz.
Oh, Robert.
The Miz. Oh, yeah. I'm trying to make him sound more prestigious.
Yeah, Robert. Quite like
that. By the way, just quickly, one thing we've not done. We do, obviously, the predictions we do actually culminate at WrestleMania. So we've only got 4 pay-per-views left.
Not long at all.
I'm going to quickly flash up the table for everyone to see. Scott and Lucas, obviously, joint third on 32, Rob on 37, me at the top on 38. All can change. To be fair, the Royal Rumble is when stuff is going to change quite a lot. Obviously, Scott, the reigning, defending.
See, I felt confident holding this up. When you did the graphic, I was like, yeah, and I'm going to flash this up next. And then I realized that I saw my points, and I'm like, it's kind of embarrassing now. I can still hold on to last year for now, so we'll see.
I mean, It's like your name goes first on there, same amount of points, but the name goes first because you were above Lucas, obviously.
I was at some point. Yeah, you could all change tonight. I could be rock bottom, as they say, or bookended if you're the WCW variety. That's a bad joke, but don't worry.
And talking of bad jokes, a teller of bad jokes now, Madcap Moss, who is facing off against Drew McIntyre.
Yeah.
So,
is this the bit where I have to pretend I know anything about that guy or this feud?
What, the guy on the left? We interviewed him.
Yeah,
a couple of years back, mate. It's Drew McIntyre, former WWE champion. What, you don't? One second, we've got a comment here. Yeah, we struggle with it as well, mate. Don't worry.
We do. Yeah. Don't worry, bro. You're in good company here. But hello as well from Mohammed. So good they named in twice. Thank you very much for joining us, mate. We really do appreciate it. Anyone coming in with your comments, whatever they are, we enjoy them and we really do appreciate it. But let us know in the comments what you think is going to happen tonight at day one. And please subscribe if you're new. But yeah, that's enough of promo out of the way.
And hopefully we're talking clear enough for the subtitles to actually come up for you in your language.
Yeah.
So, we'll try and
I don't know.
We'll try and be as clear as we can.
Grew up in the East End, mate. It's not easy.
But yeah, so Drew McIntyre and Madcap Moss. Getting back to this, so Madcap Moss, obviously, for those of you that don't know, is essentially the sidekick of Happy Corbin. Just basically walks around telling terrible jokes and just thinks he is funny. Okay. But yeah,
because much like Lucas, I've only really just seen clips for the past few weeks. So I gotta say, it's impressive. He must be doing something well to get in a big match on a pay-per-view with Drew McIntyre. So fair play to the guys. Just I ain't seen much of him.
They've been doing stuff with the sword as well. So like, sorry, Angela. They've been doing stuff with Angela.
I mean, you've kind of turned me off the entire pay-per-view, mate. By telling me that.
So they did it on SmackDown. They had it where they had a number one contenders battle royal. Drew McIntyre's name was not in it, so he went to basically find Adam Pearce and say, "Why was my name not in it?" The following week,
right?
Ended up putting his sword through the table in the office.
Yep.
And then Corbin and Madcap Moss nicked the table, took it out to the ring.
They nicked the table. Okay.
Yeah. They basically and gave it to him as a present. Corbin gave it to Moss as a present, and was like, "Oh yeah, there you go. That's yours now. Take the sword," kind of thing. And they were doing this thing where they couldn't get the sword out of the table.
Oh no!
And then Drew came in and took it out.
This gets worse and worse.
So, yeah,
this is awful.
To be fair, I'm probably telling it better than it was actually written. So, but yeah, it's a pointless match. But anyway, let's see who's going first with it. Get it out of the way. Me, there we go. Done. Out the way. Drew McIntyre, move on.
Whoa. Okay.
Drew McIntyre, I think is I think it's one of these things where it's got to kind of just rack Drew up some more victories for then the eventual showdown, I feel, with Roman Reigns further down the line. So moving over to SmackDown, he's been on a little bit on like a bit of a winning streak, and they're trying to make him look as strong as possible. So my money's on Drew for this one.
Okay, cool. Can you hear me all good?
Yep.
Yeah, cool. Just because I had it flash up saying there was an issue again, but thankfully there's cool. Right. Drew. Cool. Let's move on. I just don't.
I think you're just gone again.
Hear me?
I'm gonna go the other way then. Madcap Moss. Don't know why. Distraction. You got Happy Corbin on the outside. Distraction. Roll up. Finish. 1, 2, 3. Drew doesn't really lose anything by the loss. They're in a tough situation now, I feel, with some people where they've been putting the same people over for a long time. They've got to make new stars, so they might just do it. Don't know. They might think, it's not like it's a big 4 pay-per-view. Like Drew's not going to die if he loses a match. And there's loads of things that could happen with Happy Corbin. So, because I'm trying to break away with some points, I'm taking a few risks tonight. So, Madcap Moss, please hit the most devastating move in all of WWE. the roll up.
Surprise roll up.
Surprise roll up.
Surprise roll up.
Madcap Luke.
The most devastating move. Yeah, Madcap Moss. Yeah, is who Lucas is going for in this one.
Madcap Lucas.
Yeah. It feels that way. I'm trying to break out of the herd.
Yeah. I honestly can't get my head around why that match is even happening. But anyway, let's move on to a match where we do know why it's happening. And that is to determine who are the best tag team over on the blue brand for the Smackdown Tag Team Champions. It is the Usos taking on the King of WWE, King Woods, and Arise, Sir Kofi Kingston. The New Day versus the Usos, tag team titles. Let's go and have a look who is gonna go first on this one. It is Rob again.
It's annoying because he could have.
The one time he's not actually here.
He sent him in, yeah.
He's landing on him all the blooming time. So Rob obviously has gone for the Usos. Surprise, surprise. Because the Usos have been down since day one-ish. And playing on that, now it goes to me. Yeah, I feel as though it's definitely going to be, I think it's going to be the Usos. I don't really want to get too much into a spoiler of what I think is going to happen later in the night, but I do feel as though the Bloodline are going to have a clean sweep of victories at the show. So
you said don't want to get too much of a spoiler. You just
what? The what?
You were saying like you don't want to go into too much of a spoiler, then you just say it's clean sweep. After that.
No, I mean I don't want to go into like a spoiler of what I'm going to say for later on, but you know what? Stop it. It's gonna go for it anyway. But yeah, we are obviously waiting for Scott to get there. Do you want to just do yours before?
Okay. So there's actually a little bit of rant coming actually. So obviously while I wait for Scott, that's not a bad thing. My rant basically is, remember that time about 3 or 4 years ago when WWE had loads of tag teams and they didn't want to ever use them? This is now the time where they needed these tag teams because we are now at a match that has been done so many times. Like this match, I mean, look, they work amazingly together, the New Day and the Usos. We know that. Their feud back in 2016, 2017. 2016, 2017 was phenomenal when they had like the 3 or 4 matches. I think one of them was even on the pre-show at one point. But they had so many matches. They built up to having a tag team Hell in a Cell match. So many great things. But are we really at the stage now where the only time that there's a big tag match is when we can do the Usos versus the New Day? And it's like there's so many tag teams they could have in these spots if they didn't release everyone, or split so many tag teams up, in the past. And it's annoying because it's doing the guys a disservice, in my opinion, because now I'm not as excited for this match as I should be because it's been done so many times. And it's the only big tag match, definitely on the SmackDown side of things, that exists. Because other tag teams, even other tag teams, they stick together, they keep together, such as the Dirty Dogs, or even the Mysterios. Are they still together? Those tag teams, Dan? Yeah,
so they had the Arcade Bronerman on over on SmackDown, over on Raw, to actually determine their number one contenders, and it came down to the final of the Street Profits versus the Mysterios. So yeah, the Mysterios are still together. Dirty Dogs are still together.
Okay.
Just about, I think, for these teams, but yeah.
But yeah, with the Dirty Dogs in particular, they only are ever seen to lose. I can't recall when they've actually won a match, despite obviously being 2 very talented wrestlers. But anyway, in terms of this match, I think it'd be a very good, solid match. I would like to see them really push the boat out, though, or be allowed to push the boat out. in this one. They're four very talented performers. It's hard. It's a really hard one to call. I won't do it down and spoil things, but I think.
Not a very good noise for the people that are on audio only, mate.
I think the Usos are going to win. Yeah.
You're going with the Usos as well, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Cool. Sorry about my tech issues there, guys. I don't know what's going on tonight.
It's okay. I ranted and you're in the place. So
yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's basically someone's just not put 50p in his electric meter. That's what it is, isn't it?
Right. I think surely the Usos got to win because, in some sense I'm like the pay-per-view's named after him, sort of. And then other kind of areas I'm like, well, they make people lose in their hometown. A lot of times the Uso match I think depends on the Roman match, which obviously I'm sure we're going to get to. But I see no reason in taking the titles off the Usos. And whatever happens with Roman, obviously I've got my thoughts on it already. It doesn't need to be a kind of situation where the Usos don't have the titles. So, for me, the Usos, it makes no sense taking them off right now. So, Usos, day one-ish, all day.
Down since day one-ish. And then we move on to, obviously, the Raw side of things, sticking, obviously, with Tag Team Championships. We go on to a match that was only just confirmed this week on Raw, and that was RK Bro taking on the winners of the RK Bronament, the Street Profits, obviously beating the Mysterios in the final of that. Montez.
Is that what that was about? I saw the highlights. Yeah, I didn't know what was going on.
Basically, it was meant to.
I like that RK Bronament.
Yeah, it was meant to happen on the 13th of December, actually, but apparently Montez Ford had suffered some kind of injury, so that's why it's only just happened. But apparently he's fine now and everything. Rey Mysterio as well, had a slight knock as well, so he was off TV for a week as well. So hopefully both of them are fit and well now and good to go. So going into this one, obviously we've already mentioned it, but Riddle, we have obviously we did interview Riddle recently, so go back and check that out. So I guess we got a kind of bit of an allegiance to RK Bro in this one, but let's have a quick look at what Rob is gonna say. So Rob is saying, RK Bro, I'm just gonna try and find what I've done with this dice thing. One moment. So if you guys just feel quickly.
Cool.
I'll probably put it like right next to me.
What's your favorite color, mate? I've never asked you that.
My favorite color is red.
Rainbow.
Yeah, it's red.
Do you want to guess what mine is?
I reckon yours is red as well, actually, or black.
Oh, it's green.
It's green. Oh, I didn't say
that. It used to be red as a kid. And I went in, I had a hierarchy. Yellow is quite up there as well because I thought yellow sports cars. Yeah, yellow sports cars in the 90s look cool. Yeah. So I'm with you, man. Yellow's underrated. Let us know in the comments what your favorite color is. Have we got that dice back?
I found it.
Yay. What color is the dice as well? Lucas's favorite. I know that now.
It is red, isn't it? Yeah.
It's red, yeah. It's a red one.
It's a red one. And it's on number one. Dan, you're basically first every time because of
it's basically me and Rob. So you look just copying my answers. That's all it is, isn't it? It's like like being at school, isn't it?
Oh, don't tell everyone what happened back then, mate. Come on.
That's probably why you.
I called my way to an F because of you.
If it weren't for me, you probably would have been
That's what I mean. I'd get you.
No, you'd have got like a D or a C probably.
I knew the answer. I saw yours and went, well, he must be right.
I got an F for thick. We've got another hello. So hello,
Canal. You've been here a few times. Thank you very much for coming back. We really do appreciate it.
Goes to me. I've got to go with my boys, RK Bro. I don't feel as though the time is right yet to take the titles off them. I think they are going to do the eventual breakup of these, and I think they're probably leading. I know it's that time of year, but I think they're going to probably lead to a Mania match between the two.
Maybe one eliminates the other in the Rumble or something,
Yeah, that's literally literally
yeah.
I was just about to say. Yeah, I think it could be that it's them two and one of them throws them out, but
it's got to be Randy, innit?
The thing is, Orton teased the RKO on Raw as well.
I loved that. It was so good, man. Like
typical Randy,
Riddle's reaction was so good. Yeah, I like that they play up to that because again, I was confused when he first did it, and then they kind of carried on being a team. But then it's like Riddle just accepted him for who he is. Like sometimes Randy just can't let go, and he wants to turn on you, but Riddle's working his way back in there, So I like the chemistry.
And just obviously touching on it again, if you guys want to hear what Riddle actually thinks of Randy Orton, he's he had a lot of high praise for Randy Orton in the interview. So that is over on the Rebellious Noise Pro Wrestling channel. So go back and check that out. So moving back round to you, Scott, back in the proper order now.
Yeah, I think RK Bro. I don't understand the match. I mean, I'm all for a tournament and stuff like that. Like I said, I ain't watched much recently, but I saw the kind of highlights of them beating the Mysterios. Bit of a weird, clunky finish, but hey, it is what it is. And I was watching it thinking, oh, our Street Profits healed. Did I miss something? Because I thought it ain't gonna be Ray and Dominic, is it? So, So I thought, oh, are they heel? But nah. So it's face versus face. So I just don't see a reason for Street Profits to win at this moment in time. As much as I like them as a team, there's no reason for it at the moment.
Fair enough.
Yeah, it's one of those. Another one example of a good tag match, I guess, that they're going for. Personally, there is to be a turn. I'd prefer the turn to actually be at Mania itself. Actually, I think that. Yeah, the whole tag part and eliminating the Rumble, or breaking up before WrestleMania to have the WrestleMania match, I think it's been overdone. And I think we lack that. We were saying last year after Mania, we're lacking that big thing to happen, that big kind of match at the next pay-per-view that's not a rematch. And so I think this could be one which could be set up because obviously WrestleMania is obviously going to have, at the end of the day, there's 2 world championships. There's obviously going to be a Goldberg match. If he's not in a world championship match, and people like Edge and Cena, etc. Obviously, if they pop back, for matches. So there's enough big kind of single feuds going on that I think a Randy Orton Riddle program probably get overlooked. So I think if they were to do a tag team match and do the turn in the match or after the match, then that could be pretty cool. And I guess as well, it probably a lot of it is down to Randy. I think he genuinely seems to like this team. He genuinely, is Randy one of those people who, end of the day, he's got the privilege of being in the position he's in WWE, of essentially being unfireable because he is just who he is.
If he didn't get fired 15 years ago, he ain't getting fired now, is he? After the things he did.
But then it's just he's just one of those wrestlers, and he's a rarity in that even when he is phoning it in, he is within the top wrestlers in the world, like phoning it in. He could be asleep in matches and still, and still a phenomenal match because he's just that kind of athlete. He's a once a generational talent, isn't he? That you're just never going to get again. Like I said, once a generation. But
he has more pay-per-view matches now than anyone else, is it, in WWE?
Yeah, was it Kane he overtook, wasn't it? So
and Natalia obviously on the women's side of things as well. So both in the Guinness Book of Records now, much like myself.
Yeah, you could argue he's still probably got at least 5 years of doing this full time. So that's records only going to get extended. But yeah, I think RK Bro got this. I've just looked up that tournament thing, and it seemed that it was very face heavy, and I think they're just going for just good match over the story kind of element of it. Obviously, we said they do tag match it a bit weird in WWE as opposed to obviously like in a place like AEW or Japan who actually do the tag match a bit more like an actual tag match in a weird way, but they do it differently. But yeah, RK Bro I think will win quite easily.
Quickly, I just want to jump on your point about turning at Mania. I think that is a good idea. But it reminds me of, ironically, with Randy, they kind of did, like, starting up a program to go post-Mania rather than rematches, like you said. They kind of did that last year with Bray, and obviously nothing came of it. But yeah, just reminding me of that. But yeah, so it's like they kind of are up for the idea, and so I can see him doing it, is what I'm basically saying, because I think they meant to do that last year, ironically, also with Randy. So yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah, I'm guessing it's a bit easier with a character like Riddle, though. I mean, obviously, there's a lot of stuff that went on with Bray and the Fiend, but he wasn't a character that was very easy to just go, okay, right, we've got this segment for you, this tonight, because there were logistics, and especially because they went back to the Thunderdome, obviously after WrestleMania last year, whereas this year, please, the Raw After Mania should be in front of fans.
Yeah,
that's
true. We haven't had one of them. Yeah, wow.
Yeah, the first time in 3 years, wasn't it? Essentially.
Wow. Well, maybe it's the break it needed, because it got very watered down. Let's be honest.
Yeah. So, but I'm hoping that essentially, this year when we're at that Raw After Mania, that there'll be a very, very hot crowd angry at a top villain, Randy Orton.
Yeah.
Leading into, hopefully they don't call it WrestleMania Backlash, but
just Backlash.
Let's be real, it's going to be WrestleMania SummerSlam Backlash, featuring Survivor Series
on the fast lane to Royal Rumble.
Yeah,
with inside a Hell in a Cell. So,
of course,
just to cap it off.
And it's weird, like going back on your point, it's weird to think that me and Scott were both in attendance at the last Raw after WrestleMania.
Was it really? Flipping heck. Wow. That was the last one.
If it's the Raw after WrestleMania 35, because 36 didn't have one, 37 didn't have one.
Wow, it really, there we go.
Hey! Nice of you to join us, mate.
I'm so sorry, guys.
Have we covered all of the ones you sent in, though?
Yeah.
That is great timing, bro. We've done. Oh, mate, we are a team.
Yeah. Sorry, I'll move that as brand promotion.
Cool. Hey, get rid of that brand, please.
All that one. There we go. Get out of the way. Learn from Red Noise quick. Sorry, guys.
That's cool. You're here, and we are ready to go. Have you been watching any of it as you've been on your own?
I mean, do you know what? The problem with Apple phones, I won't give them a full quality, but dude, the minute someone sends me a message, I go back into reply to the message, and I can't half and half screen. So I miss half of what you're saying, and I have to skip through.
Okay. Did you see our conversation about coming up with a name for Ricochet and I keep forgetting who's in the team? Cesaro. I say one and I forget the other. WWE, excuse me, WWE or one of those accounts to do with WWE asked for a name, so we thought it'd be fun to try. We've had a few ideas. Dan come up with, what was it?
Swing and Spring,
which I think is great. I had Super Kickoff, because we were talking about how they're kind of superhero related, both of them, and they are kind of kings of the kickoff show, as Lucas mentioned. Lucas hasn't got a name yet, have you?
He just couldn't be bothered thinking of one.
I thought the concept of.
All right, we'll take that one together. Yeah, Super Kickoff. Yeah, all right, cool. And Rob, have you managed to come up with one, or?
I've got two.
Two. Wow. One of them to Lucas, mate. You greedy.
Right, all right. So you could have Fast and Furious.
Okay. Look, might get sued, but yeah.
Bald and Bold.
They're both.
But they're both bald.
And they're both quite bold. So
okay. All right then. All right. So we either go with the lawsuit or the one that's a bit weird.
I mean, the one that's a bit weird, you don't want to get sued.
But yeah, that's as good as I got.
Okay, cool. Once again, anyone in the comments, feel free to chime in. We want to hear these interesting names.
Yeah, so we'll probably get some crazy ones throughout the night on the actual show as well. To be fair, you know what WWE are like with coming up with some of these names. So
half and half theme and all that rubbish.
Yeah, so we've got the loaded dice back out, Rob. It's literally landed on you or me the entire time. So let's try and get.
You know what that is? Because the old pre-show favorite Ronnie Storm. We've given him the night off. Don't worry, he's here. Oh, there he is. He's here, but we've given him the night off.
It's basically
it is a mixture of the prediction show and the build-up. We thought, let's be fair.
Yeah.
It's either that or the professional setter-upper in Scott's household is not actually around to set it up for him.
Again, because it is like a prediction show, but a build-up. Because if you're new here, guys, on the build-up, we recap our original predictions, and then we've missed, we make new ones. But because, like as Dan mentioned earlier on, if you missed it, it's been the holiday season, as you Americans call it. We've been a bit busy eating pigs in blankets. So because of that, we are putting predictions in tonight, and Ronnie gets the night off.
So yeah, Ronnie's still on annual leave.
Yeah, Ronnie's been off
in ages ago.
He's been off since Survivor Series, you cheeky so-and-so.
What a lazy sod. Right, so let's see who is going to go first for the next match. It is going to be number 1, so me again.
Of course it is. Next one's going to be Rob and you. Then Rob.
So the match
night off
that we have got is for the Raw Women's Championship, Becky Lynch versus Liv Morgan.
Yeah, she is. She is. Don't worry.
So I am gonna go. So this one for me is quite weird because my head says Becky, my heart says Liv.
But your body. Okay, we can't do that song anymore. Sorry, I just realised he's been cancelled. We can't do that.
So,
okay. Draw.
So I think Becky is going to win. Don't want to risk it. I was going to say Becky.
Go on, risk it.
I was going to say like Liv to win, but Becky to keep the belt. Like one of those kind of scenarios. Because the thing is, if I say Liv's going to win, just to clarify, if I say Liv's going to win, does that mean the announcer saying the winner of the match, Liv Morgan, or is it? It's not the fact.
Because it has to be a bonus point if you're going to say that.
No, so I mean, but if I say Liv's going to win, that means that she's just going to win the match. It doesn't necessarily matter who leaves it.
Yeah, but that's never been a thing. We've always said like the whole point is to pick who wins. Like, the match is for the title. So like you're saying a stipulation of like it was a. In order to get to that point, it has to be shenanigans. It has to be DQ.
Yeah, so that's what I mean. Yeah, so if Liv wins, then it's like, Liv wins by DQ, but still the champion is Becky Lynch. So technically, Liv would have won the match.
Yeah, so that's a bonus point because you're basically picking that.
Right. So.
But what if he picks Liv Morgan? But Liv Morgan.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, if I just say Liv's going to win, and then if Liv wins and it's a D, and it happens to be a DQ.
Because the prediction is who will win the title. On title matches is who will win the title. Because the first time we ever did bonus points came in because of such and such will win, but they won't win the title. That's why we started bonus points. That and draws were the first two things we started on.
Yes, I've always thought that it was that we would. I always thought it was just that whoever's announced as the winner. Because didn't we do it before with the Ripley and Charlotte match? Was it when Rhea got DQ'd? Or no, Charlotte got DQ'd, but then we still got the point for Rhea winning the match or something. I don't know, but anyway.
Yeah, because she got DQ'd. What do you mean? So they don't win a title?
Yeah. Because it was basically whoever WWE officially announces as winning the match is who.
That was when it was. They announced they announced the wrong thing. That's what that was. Because it should have what happened that time was when it should have been someone should have won.
Oh right, yeah,
but they didn't because WWE announced it as a no contest when it was actually a DQ, and we were all like, it should have been the other person that won.
Oh yeah. So Right, so that's throwing a spanner in things.
I was gonna be really nice. Don't worry, mate, you can go last. And I realized, no, I forgot. The whole point is this is ruthless with the dice situation.
So, right. Who is okay? So if we're gonna go with that, I think Becky Lynch is now. I think Becky's gonna leave as champion. So.
Okay, yeah, like that's the safe. Yeah, yeah.
So I'm not going to bonus point it, but I think Liv will win the match technically, but Becky will keep the title. So like it will be a DQ for Liv. Becky will leave with the title, something like that. But I'm not bonus pointing that. I'll just say Becky to leave as champ.
Okay. Well, all right. Well, okay. This is You kind of caught me on the fly there because I think maybe you're. I
think it has always been whoever the person is announced as the winner. So if my prediction is Liv Morgan, but Becky gets herself disqualified, so then Liv technically wins the match, you still get the point. But you
because Liv won.
Because Liv has won the match. So I will say Liv Morgan is going to win the match, not necessarily. That doesn't matter if she's going to win the title or not, but Liv Morgan.
Okay, So exactly that.
I'll word it this way: Liv will be declared the winner. There we go.
Yeah, so that covers you for a DQ win where she don't get it, but also covers you for she's winning the title, which is like the bigger claim, I guess. But it doesn't. You don't get. But but you're more doing it for DQ, but you're not going to risk the bonus point, so you're kind of happy either way. Cool. Yeah, gotcha.
Cool. We got there in the end.
Yeah. Oh, mate, now I got to think about it. That's a tough one because we've said for about 6 months to a year now, like someday this moment's coming for Liv, and they, what will be the moment? Will it be a Survivor Series win? Will it be a title win? Will it be a Money in the Bank? You know what I mean? Like something's going to happen.
We've been saying the same about Tottenham, mate, for years.
Well,
our time's going to come.
They get battered everywhere they go, mate. Yeah, but I can't. It's tough because I think if you take it off Becky, then, even the TLC is usually hard to pick because you're like Rumble's so close, and then Rumble's hard to pick because you go, Mania's coming up, and then whatever's in between, Chamber or Fastlane or both, you're like, Mania's coming up. So already I'm starting to think of Mania and therefore Rumble, and I think if Becky's not the champ and Liv is going into the Rumble, then that means a heel needs to win the Rumble if therefore Becky's going to go all the way. But if she's not going to go, Liv is going to go all the way to Mania. But I could also kind of see Liv winning it, a babyface wins the Rumble, and then Liv loses it at the Chamber, So, I'm going to go with, this is really tough. I think this was the hardest one to pick. I'm going to go Liv Morgan as well. That's okay. Yeah, Liv Morgan. But again, no bonus point on it. But Liv Morgan's going to win.
Liv Morgan.
Great comment here, bro. Appreciate that.
Matt Riddle fan there, so
of course. Throw him up. Lucas, you'll go?
I might ask me.
In a world of his own there.
Wait, so Scott said Liv, and so have you, Dan?
Yeah.
That means I've got like Becky Lynch then.
I mean, you ain't got her. But tactically, yeah.
But then I could go further down. Oh, it's annoying because I really want Liv to win, actually. Because last year, when they were doing the insanity, when I'm about to say it out loud, of this whole Lacey Evans being pregnant by Ric Flair storyline.
Forgot about that.
People now, I'm not going to... If you just got into WWE in the past, 3 months, 6 months, whatever, look, always a great time to start watching. But that sentence must sound crazy. But it was a legitimate thing that happened. But anyway, last year they flirted with this entire thing of, essentially taking the belt off of the champion at the time to put it on someone else to lose it. And there's a lot of pay-per-views now in the way, a lot of roadblocks.
Oi.
In the way now, isn't there? Like on this road to WrestleMania before we get there. So it's like Liv could win and then just lose it at the Rumble, or even just win and lose it on Raw in a couple of weeks. But I feel that she's kind of going to always be this kind of like crowd favorite forever, until she kind of wins. And that kind of stuff, it has a shelf life, doesn't it? Like, you know, it gets to a point where if she keeps losing, that pop's gone because people just won't ever believe that she could win it. But they seem to be obsessed, and I mean obsessed, with every woman who holds the belt having it forever. Like, it's true.
When Becky left, they put it on Asuka for ages, didn't they?
Yeah, and I was going to say, like, this is another point that Becky's had it for so, like, if you think is she going to have it to Mania? That's a long time, you know, after like having been gone, and she got it as soon as she come back. So yeah, for me, breaking it up, and I'm with you there as well, Lucas, on the sense that in the sense that you can't keep cheering for someone that's never going to win it. She needs to win it once, and I think she's the perfect kind of champ to win it now and lose it at the Chamber, whether it be in a Chamber match or something like that. That's 2 pay-per-views time. For me, it makes perfect sense. And then because I don't see her being the Mania one, but then again, maybe that run goes really well and she's in the Mania matches to challenge her. Who knows? But yeah, for me, this is a great time because you capitalize on Liv's kind of excitement. Becky is the heel who kind of like eventually gets it back or whatever else happens, really. This is like they have a great opportunity here.
Yeah,
we've got another idea as well here in the comments from You Know the Deal.
Oh,
let's go. Bliss returns. Yeah, I mean, it would be a real shame because I think it would take away the moment from Liv again. Another moment that gets taken away from her. As much as I love Alexa Bliss, and I think she's great in any kind of version of that we've seen of her. I'd rather not. Basically, I'd rather she came back at the Rumble. Big pop, you know.
Yeah, I think Alexa's one you'll say for the Rumble, in my opinion.
I think you're thinking probably Bliss, Bayley, Lacey. I reckon all at the Rumble.
I think even Marie as well, actually, for the Rumble.
Nah, she's gone. She's released.
But she can come back. She's not like... Because she only got released... Because she was filming a movie. So, like, she's finished that movie now. So, I think... Yeah, like...
Oh, then it was like it timed out well with other projects and things. So
well, yeah, we'll get to that when we come to it. But, yeah, I think...
They realised she was still terrible and just thought, you know what?
Oh, come on now. Saying it, my legs just got giddy thinking about the Royal Rumble. You just got to love the Rumble. Like, just thinking about possible. Like, I can't wait to have the pod where we do this. So, everyone, subscribe, join us when we get to talk about the Rumble because
it's back in front of fans.
Oh, yes. Okay.
Yes,
can't wait, man.
Obviously, we only actually had to do one Rumble without fans, didn't we? Because obviously, how the pandemic decided.
Yeah, just
decided.
I think I'll stop it after the Chamber.
But yeah, sorry, but back to my actual prediction then. So I think sadly we're going to see a default win. As much as I think Liv should get something, I just feel that with this belt in particular, the past few years, they've just been obsessed with everyone has to have it forever. That's the only way they... I mean, Bayley had a long run with the SmackDown belt, you know. Then they obviously, at the same time as that, they had Becky Lynch hold it for a year. And like we said, Asuka just won it off her and had it forever. And I asked, where is Asuka anyway? Does she work? I mean, come on, like, where is she?
I always forget. I think she's injured.
She's injured?
Yeah, I think she did have an injury. And then...
That's another good potential Rumble. There's a lot of women that could come back at the Women's Rumble. That is going to be stacked.
Well, yeah. I mean,
hopefully,
I honestly can't wait till we get a chance to talk about the Rumble.
Yeah,
like in more detail. Because this year's Rumble is going to be the most interesting Rumble for a number of years. But
and you're right, the fans being back, those pops.
There's so many factors to it. But
it's
again,
gonna feel so good.
You have to subscribe, and you have to be able to go through us. But yeah, I think Becky Lynch will win this one. What about you, Rob?
I'm kind of torn.
Right, Natalie. Sorry.
Yeah, so a part of me wants Becky to win. Obviously, I'm a big Becky fan. But I've been saying for ages, Liv needs to, like, they're at this point that WWE failed to do this thing of strike while the iron's hot. We've seen it so many times with so many wrestlers. I think one of the biggest ones that we moaned about forever was Braun Strowman. And that was with finally
ROH alumni Braun Strowman.
Dude, like, it was so annoying because they'd done the swamp stuff and all that with Bray, and it was just too late, and I think they're still at this point where Liv is building, and she could afford to win it and then lose it literally on the next show, Raw, SmackDown, sort of thing. Do you know what I mean? Another one night thing, because they can do that to test the waters to get crowd reactions. They've done that with Jericho
Oh,
way back when. Do you remember when he beat
Hebner's
Triple H?
fast count? Yeah, mate. What a moment.
Yeah. And the crowd went absolutely nuts. And then
Yeah.
the dude become like the undisputed champion. So it can happen. So I think I would like to see Liv win, lose it, and say, look, she's had a pinfall over Becky. She can do it again. And it builds it up. Because, I mean, the storytelling, the ideal storytelling is go to Rumble, win at Rumble, go to Mania. But I think that's too obvious.
Yeah, and also because I was toying with this kind of prediction earlier as well, because if she loses this and then wins the Rumble, yes, it would be that big moment that we've all been waiting for. Is it Survivor Series? Is it Money in the Bank? Is it Rumble? But the timing doesn't work out. And it's like, if she loses tonight and then she wins at the Rumble, oh, great, we're back in the same feud. But you lost last month. Do you know what I mean? It wouldn't make sense. So, yeah, I agree.
Yeah, and I just think having a win at Rumble it's too far gone for this build and stuff. So I think have her beat Becky and then lose it. Have her lose it to Becky again. Like, Becky demands a rematch straight away. Something like that.
Yeah.
Have her lose to Becky. Becky then becomes champ. Then we'll build again. Because she doesn't have to win Rumble to do that. Do you know what I mean? And then we can build through Chamber and stuff like that. And you can have like Daniel Bryan kind of input into the main event, which I think is great. Unless we don't even have Becky in the main event at Mania, and we have Becky challenging her at Mania, and it's a reverse of how we want to see it. So for that, I'm going Liv Morgan as a win.
Liv Morgan to win, eh? Now, I didn't envision Liv Morgan getting more predictions to win than Becky Lynch for that one. I've got to be honest, but I think it's turned out that way eventually. But let's see if this one's a little bit more conclusive, shall we? It's the battle of Paul Heyman's boys. It's Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar for the Blue Universal Championship. And we are going to go with, is it me or Rob this time? Oh, number 3, Lucas.
Oh, dear.
These last two are probably the two that none of us want to go for, especially the last one, I don't think. It's tough.
So
I'm actually annoyed I'm last. This is the easiest one for me.
And me.
Roman Reigns' reign end here is the question. The answer is maybe.
Good one, mate. Good one.
This is just, I can't see Brock losing again. Like, I can't actually remember the last time Brock Lesnar lost 2 matches back to back. I don't think it's even happened ever. It is such a weird thing, because if they're going to stretch us out to Mania, then which is looking most likely, because I'm assuming The Rock's just not going to answer their calls, and whoever else is on the table, I don't know who could even be in that discussion now with the reign that happened. Unless they're looking outside the company at someone who potentially, there's a contract situation happening that they're able to get someone in to face Reigns. But even then, I don't know. I don't see it. So I've got to then think, so if this match is going to go to Mania, is it going to Mania with Brock as champion or not? And I've also got to go against what you guys think. And I think you guys might think Brock's going to win. So that means I'll go for Roman Reigns retaining. Yeah, Roman Reigns retaining. Final answer.
Yeah, for me, I don't want to see this go on any longer than we have to. That's no thing at Brock. I love Brock. I love this new version of Brock. I'm all for it. He's for some reason, babyface Brock or anti-villain Brock, whatever, that cool style of Brock is always better than heel. He doesn't need a mouthpiece. When he done the funny stuff with Angle, and all that. I love Brock like that. Him being, you know, like this weird, you know, all of his weird stuff that he's wearing. I absolutely love it. You know, I mean, for dripness, I'd rather have Brock than Seth Rollins.
Hey, what are you talking about, mate? Don't you diss that Seth Rollins style?
That's only because you got the suits.
What are you talking about? Yeah, check that video out. Cheap plug.
Yeah, that's but yeah, that was a funny video. But yeah, I just don't understand this thing of, all right, we need someone to dethrone Roman Reigns. Let's bring in Brock Lesnar. Like, it doesn't need to be Brock. Like, this is the perfect opportunity to build someone else and make them a star. They want things now, then, now, you know, forever. Like, if you want that forever in the future, then build a damn star. Like, you've done so many people there. Cesaro, for example. Like, he's there. He's molded exactly how they want. So stop bringing back people that have done it and make someone else do it. So for me, Roman Reigns. I don't want to see Brock win the title.
Roman Reigns, eh? So we've got a comment here as well, actually. Out of script, they're trying to delete the legacy of CM Punk by using the Reigns title reign and the Universal Championship more prestigious.
No.
I believe Brock Lesnar actually surpassed the CM Punk title reign.
And they've had Walter with the belt.
But I don't doubt that those things were to do that, though. I think that is partly true. I think they've tried to do that. Doing it with Punk was a strange one in the first place that they chose him to do it with. But I do think they're partly doing that. But the whole point about making Universal Championship more prestigious, I think, is 100% a part of it. And also, it's been great for Reigns as well.
Part. So I agree with the second part of that comment, but I disagree with the Punk thing. I think the Punk reign, the Punk reign itself was a kind of just done because it, in a nice sort of way, and Punk won't admit this, he had that championship when that was the secondary championship, that was the secondary thing in the company. Like, they made it very clear that all they cared about was pushing the Rock and Cena, and that was the main attraction to the show. And so the WWE Championship kind of got shifted.
Yeah, but it wasn't the secondary championship. That's for one night and one program. Yeah, but it was the main title for the 500 odd days. But yes, it did get taken back to Mania.
He rarely main evented. The company, you know, their stock was still in Cena and The Rock. It was a case of they didn't want Cena or The Rock to be champion. So Punk just had to hold it for a little bit. And then when and obviously he did a good job with it, but I've always felt that it was just circumstantial. They didn't want John Cena as champion, and so someone else had to have the belt, and someone else had the challenge of the belt, and so his match became secondary by nature. Then when he lost the belt because it went on to the Rock and Cena program that he actually cared about. But I mean, obviously, you know, it's one of those things like looking at it 10 years down the line. But I don't necessarily agree that they're doing these things to erase Punk's thing. And if anything, they've had so many long title reigns lately anyway. So,
but I think those ones were. I think that's what they do. Those ones were, but I don't think they're doing it now. Yeah, they're not doing it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the Brock one was, and the fact that obviously because Brock obviously then did beat the streak as well, which Punk did the year before. There's lots of things with Brock where I think they've done it. And then with this one, like the Universal title seemed prestigious, yes, like absolutely, like it is. Like the match, the caliber of the matches speaks for itself. Themselves, really. Like there's not really been a bad match at Reigns had during this.
And I would touch on that. It is the main title now. Weirdly enough, it like the job done. Do you know what I mean? Like I didn't care about the title before; it was clearly number 2, but suddenly they've switched it. But and it was the same with World Heavyweight in WWE. Sometimes one felt more important than the other. But I think it's probably the first time Universal, because of the lineage and stuff, has finally started to feel like it could be the number 1 for a bit, and it will change. WWE will be it next. Do you know what I mean? It will happen. But I agree with you guys. Like Universal is definitely more prestigious because of this.
Yeah, 100%, man. I think because you got to think as well. So I think when the last time Brock held it, ironically, we spoke about it earlier, but we were there when he lost it eventually, and that was Seth Rollins at WrestleMania 35. It was one of those title reigns where it was just such like a part-time title reign, and Goldberg was the same as well. It was like they've been a lot of like part-time reigns with the Universal title, and it's only, I think that this belt has now only been properly legitimized as a credible title while it's been on Roman Reigns. And you know, before it was like, you know, oh, the Fiend had it. Okay, fair enough. It changed to blue because it's on SmackDown. Fair
it's
enough.
convenient timing though, isn't it? Like, I think Reigns definitely helped, and the argument would be that Reigns has done it, but at the same time, it couldn't have happened straight away. Even if Reigns did it from the first year, this wouldn't have been the case. So it needed those first few years. It's like, to do a football term, check out our football channel, the Rebellious Noise football channel, or NFC, the Nations League. Eventually, the Nations League will mean something, but the first few years, it's not gonna, you know? So I think it's convenient, and the best way to do it, this is probably the right time to make it mean something. And Reigns is the right person, and this reign that Reigns has had is the right way to do it, I think.
Yeah, for sure. I think, and obviously, we know there's the Paul Heyman influence as well. And on the subject of that, we have another comment here from You Know The Deal saying Heyman will double cross Lesnar to prove his loyalty towards Roman. Reigns wins in a gimmick finish. Possibility. You got to think, is it actually going to be, is the Heyman thing going to happen now, or is this going to be a case? Because I mean, we saw a thing on SmackDown with Paul Heyman saying that, you know, it seems like he's going to be taking a bit of time off. I mean, it'd be interesting to see the match with the two, with no Paul Heyman at all, no Usos at all.
He's so embedded in this feud, though. So
yeah, and see, I think as well, it's, you know, I know I keep saying it. Sorry. Another one where it could go on to like to Mania sort of thing, and then.
Well, everything's happening in WrestleMania according to that, you damn.
Well, 5 nights. I was gonna say, like, about him being embedded, like, he is the reason this feud's interesting. Like, let's be real. Like 6 months ago, when Brock comes back, like, and he is back, and then oh my gosh, like the reason this feud is interesting in the new dynamic is because of Paul Heyman and switch between babyface and heel, and that only happened because of Paul Heyman. So, like, for me, you can't move away from the whole Paul Heyman thing. But yeah, anyway. So Rob, you predicted, right?
Yeah.
I think his audio's gone.
I think we have a technical issue with Rob.
Cool. So yeah, we'll flick back on. So it's my prediction now anyway. Yeah, I think nice and quick for me. I'm going to go with a Roman Reigns retention. I do feel as though this is still got a lot of still going to have a lot of traction to it, this feud. I don't think it's going to be over yet. Yeah, I mean, the thing is, it's one of them where I don't want anyone to be involved in it. I just want it to be clean. Yeah, so for me, Roman Reigns. We've got one more comment as well here quickly. Can you show us the Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar match? Currently, we're doing the predictions on the show. We can't, due to obviously copyright reasons, we can't show any footage of the matches. You can obviously go over to the available platforms in your area to watch the matches live, but you can come back and see what we think of it when we do the recap and review, which will be tomorrow. Yes, the review and recap of it. So you'll hear our thoughts on it anyway. But unfortunately, we can't show you the match. Otherwise, this video will no longer exist in YouTube. So.
I like that came from Brandon, like earlier when we had Mohammed as well. I wonder if they know each other.
So could they named them twice? Yeah. True story. I actually know someone called David. So
do you? Wow. Yeah. I could have been called Scott, but that didn't happen. So in another timeline, I could have been. Right, yeah, Roman Reigns is winning. Easy, done. Not quite. No, more so. I mean, Lucas mentioning, Brock losing back to back kind of made me a bit jittery, thinking, oh, maybe not. But I just feel like this is time. This is where I completely agree with Rob. But it's just what my fear is that WWE doesn't agree with that, and it goes more on the side of what Lucas said of that fear of can Brock really lose twice. But surely they've built him for a reason. But maybe it's not. Maybe it's been for the Universal title and for Reigns, not for the successor. Because there's many years where we looked at the streak and thought this is built for someone to win, and then we go, maybe it's not. Maybe it's just built for the kind of extravaganza at WrestleMania, So because it didn't end up being someone we thought it would be, it'd be Edge back in the day, you know what I mean? Then it ended up being, it could be Randy Orton, it could be, you know what I mean? But it never was. So maybe we're being a bit gullible there. But I'd like to think they think the same way as I think we do. Of it's got to mean something eventually. You mentioned Cesaro, Rob. I think Cesaro would have been a good candidate, and he could swing back into it. No pun intended. Scott Steiner coming out there. If you hear me.
So London City, ladies and gentlemen.
That's the London party.
It is, yeah. Of course.
We've been flashing lights everywhere as well. So.
But yeah, I think Roman Reigns is, for me, he has to win. He has to, because Brock isn't the guy to do it. And I think what the who was it said in the comments? Forgive me for forgetting your name. Was it you know the deal? Here we go. You know the deal. Heyman will double cross Lesnar to prove his loyalty towards Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns wins in gimmick finish. That's exactly what I think should happen. It's what I hope will happen. And I'm gonna put my faith in WWE and say it's what will happen. And I think it will be a short match, as Rob alluded to earlier. Love both these guys, but let's be real, these matches don't usually go long. So yeah, a short match, a 5-6 minute match where Reigns is helped by Heyman, and it was either all a kind of joke or something like, not a joke, but because that Superman punch looked real as far as wrestling terms go. It weren't like he pretended and we could go, I didn't actually hit him. Like you have to have agreed to have hit him. So unless Reigns and him said, look, mate, take the punch, and they kind of talked that into the storyline, the only other way to go is that Reigns was angry and Heyman's since gone, I'll prove it to you. And I love everything they've done with Heyman since, by the way. That promo package looked like a Hall of Fame video, the way it was narrated and stuff like that. And him like letting his stubble grow out and just being looking a bit disheveled and stuff like that in an interview with what's her name, Kayla Braxton. Like it was, and obviously they've got their history. So at the start, he starts off with this kind of like, are you trying to mock me? It was very, very well done. And I think is big part of the feud, took a little step back. Surely he's coming back involved, and I think that's the best way to do it.
He actually did quite well to grow that stubble out in a few hours, because that show was taped the exact same day as the one where he took the punch. It was literally filmed straight after.
Maybe he'd already grown it knowing that, and then from a distance they filmed the punch because all right, or maybe he already had it. I don't know.
Yeah. It's weird how these things work. I mean, some people, their hair just grows naturally.
I mean, literally, they call it a 5 o'clock shadow because by 5 o'clock, some people have got a stubble going. But, some people don't grow it through 30 odd years of their life.
The power of the punch.
It pushed it. Okay. It sent him into a new dimension. His body went, whoa! And just...
Let's not get Spider-Man in this.
Just didn't grow here, though, for him, unfortunately.
Sadly.
The thing is, on a real though, like Heyman's one of those though where he just makes you believe that anything could happen, if that makes sense. Like he just kind of his commitment to selling you a pay-per-view, literally just knows no bounds. He will go to that level of you making you think this is what's going to happen.
He's made them so much money when you think about it in those terms.
Absolutely.
He's sold so many main events.
He's just so able to get that realism into things of a real. And he's so good at being what the role he is, and obviously if he's gonna have to be set, that's the thing. But even when he is announced he's gonna have some time off, it's like, well, is he working up to that? Like, he's got us on tenterhooks basically, for this. But I don't know if it'd be a short match though. I don't know how, because the short match works when you've got the guys who only want to do the big moves, I guess. But and of which obviously Brock is that guy, but Reigns kind of isn't. So I don't see how they're going to do it. Because obviously with Goldberg and Brock, it fit. Obviously,
yeah.
And obviously, if Brock's going to squash someone, it fits. But I don't know. I don't see Brock being squashed.
Yeah, because those Reigns matches he's had with Reigns and Brock before, they've been quite long ones, to be fair. But then is it because it was Mania? So
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how long they went. When did they last fight? What, Crown
I feel like they were longer than. They could have been 7 minutes, and I'd be like, "Oh, it was a long one."
Crown Jewel 2021.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, I forgot about that one.
How long was it? That
I think it was under 10.
There you go. It still feels long. Yeah,
12 minutes.
Okay,
is that including the entrances or without them?
No, without.
It was about half an hour with Roman's entrance.
We'll go back and check the watch along and.
Oh, I had so many problems with that. Do you remember?
Yeah. Oh, I remember, mate, being on my own. Yeah, I remember. Dan to come and save me a few times. But...
It made for some good viewing, though. It was
it was fun. It was fun. It was a good night. It was fun doing a watch along. It's a rare time we get to do it, being over in the UK, with sensible hours.
You know what, though? I was thinking, why we keep talking about the pay-per-view like it's tonight? They realised it's day one and it's January 1st, bro. I'm so tired. Like, I didn't sleep well last night. I was at work.
Mate, again, and it's that past week from Christmas. It's confusing for everyone. Don't worry about it. Don't worry.
And ironically, we're actually getting the show on day 2 because it starts.
That's a good point. I want my money back.
It starts on January the 2nd.
I want my money. That's full sabotage. Yeah, give me my money back.
So, but yeah, let's get into what I believe will be the main event. It is a fatal 4-way match for the WWE Championship. And it features Big E, Seth Rollins, Kevin Owens, and Bobby Lashley.
I genuinely forgot this match was happening. And now I've seen a graphic and I'm like, oh, cool.
Yeah, I don't see how
because Reigns is always like the top,
the top dog.
Yeah,
if that's the case, I reckon Roman and Brock are opening the show.
Possibly.
Yeah, but but then that goes on if they have the Heyman thing. That can't be an opener.
No, I think Dan's wrong. I think the Universal title match is going on last.
If the Universal goes, if this is going to be last,
I thought this would be
Roman
first.
will go first. Because he said in the interview, if he's not going first, he's going last. He doesn't get stuck in the middle.
Yeah. But I surely this ain't the last. What makes you think that, Dan?
Well, I think they've obviously built it up as the fatal 4-way. There's obviously they've really played on it on Raw, and they're playing on the fact that anyone can come out of it as the champion.
It's been built well. I'll give you that.
It's nice to actually have a pay-per-view where we know what the card is in advance.
Well, it's been a long time for that as well.
Yeah.
I don't think I don't think it'll be first. I think it might be, third from last or something like that, but we'll see.
And just obviously we'll get the plugs in because this is a Rebellious Noise heavy match featuring people that we've interviewed, as in WWE Champion Big E.
And hopefully he keeps it so we can plug this interview for a bit longer.
As in Kevin Owens, who we also interviewed.
Who also what did he recently do? He recently resigned.
He resigned. So there we go. Again, more time to plug the interview. Great.
And Bobby Lashley as well. He's going anywhere.
It's pretty good.
And then also a man who you pay tribute to, Scott, with his
suit, close enough.
Rollins.
Close enough. I appreciate.
Feel free to come on at any time, Seth. For an interview.
Hopefully.
You've got to wear a Seth suit.
Interviewing Seth. Oh, if we get the chance to interview Seth, we'll see about that. We'll see if we can make it happen. We'll see if we can make it happen.
Right, so let's see. There's 4 of them. There's 4 of us. Let's see who's gonna go first.
I'd love it if we all picked one individual.
Dice just flew out there. Probably landed on Rob.
Come on, Ronnie. Tell him what to do.
Right, it is number 1. There we go.
Right.
The one that I didn't want to go bloody first.
I've had a clean sweep here, man. I'm doing.
Yeah, you've escaped.
Yeah, for someone who's doing joint bottom with you and hasn't watched WWE TV in a long time, I'm very, very grateful that I haven't gone first.
Yeah, it's lucky because I've been able to give you the narrative.
I know you've caught me. It's like later Smackdown's back. Yeah.
It's like a mini later Smackdown rolled into this.
Yeah, thanks, mate.
So there we go. Just for those that didn't quite catch who's in the match, it is Big E, Seth Rollins, Kevin Owens, and Bobby Lashley for the WWE Championship. Oh, this is tricky. So, see, part of me thinks Big E, but then I also think he could well lose the title because, there's been rumblings that they're not entirely pleased with how the reaction's been to Big E's title reign. So,
really? Again, I've been out and haven't heard much, but I would have assumed, especially from when we went to the live show in London, that's a pretty good indicator that people are on his side. That's quite a shock to hear.
Yeah, UK crowds, though, mate, isn't it?
We do push who needs to be pushed. Yeah. If it weren't for that Fandango, would have got his old.
Yeah.
They tell
but
them, I think.
The what? Sorry.
Fans, they tell them people really fast, don't they? Like 1 minute they like them, next minute they don't.
50.
But I think as well, it seems like they're building Bobby Lashley up as a big baby face. Owens obviously has recently re-signed, so
I was right about that.
Tricky.
Just saying.
So I think none of us actually thought that Owens was going to re-sign.
I tell you what, it didn't seem like that a while ago, but yeah,
it really didn't. So Lucas, did you think he was going to re-sign or?
Yeah, I was adamant. I told him that he would resign, and lots of people. He would. So,
are they going to then reward him? Do we think for that with being WWE champion? Oh,
I'll answer that in my prediction.
I honestly think that they're going. I think they're going to go safe and keep it on.
I'm like a politician, isn't it?
All right, Boris Jackson. Like Lucas Churchill or something.
That's more like it.
So I think for safe, I think I'm gonna stick with Big E. I don't want to risk my place at the top too much. So
Oi, look at you, mate.
Flexing.
Isn't it?
The thing is, all it takes is just for one wrong prediction and Rob's overtaking me.
Like you said, Rumble's a big one as well. Mania's big, so we got a few chances, but it ain't looking good for us at the moment, Lucas. But hey, who knows? I'm kind of going on what you said just then, Dan, about like rewarding Kevin Owens. It seems a bit too obvious though, but at the same time, I weren't as confident as Lucas. I think that was a happy coincidence, if I'm honest, Lucas, that you predicted that. But because I think he definitely wasn't likely to say. It might have been a bargaining thing. Don't get me wrong. We kind of mentioned this out of off air, didn't we? When we
That's the only bargaining chip, mate.
Well,
like all those Benjamins.
Yeah, well, not Shelton, but maybe a feud of Shelton made him stay. Who knows? That'd be lovely. Anyway, so I kind of see it that way. When it's four of them, it just feels like, as they go, as they say all the time, champions disadvantage and all this kind of stuff. So it feels like that. And again, you got to think about Mania, you got to think about Rumble and who could potentially, will this person, whoever wins it or keeps it, if it's Big E, go on to Mania with it? Is so much going to happen. And at the same time, I saw again, watching the clips, just catching up, I saw Kevin Owens basically be like, me and Seth are best mates, but it was all my plan. And I thought, this is it. Then he's going to turn on Seth. But then I saw a video of Seth in front of his Christmas tree with a wonky star at the top. Someone should have told him, where he's saying, it's typical for Owens to take. So it's not like Seth's ignorant in this relationship. He understands that Owens is going to take credit, but they're mates, blah, blah, blah. So I thought it was clear before I saw Seth's interview that Owens was going to kind of turn on, like not turn on Seth, but, kind of like Seth thinks it's all hunky-dory, but it's not, and Owens therefore wins at his expense or something like that. But I think I'm still kind of going with that over the other scenarios. I don't think Big E's going to hold it to Mania. If he's got it past Rumble, I'd be very, very surprised. So he's either going to lose it at Rumble or he's going to lose it tonight. So I think maybe because I don't know what's going to happen at Rumble, I'm going to say he's going to lose it tonight. And so it's Kevin, Seth, and who's the other one again?
Bobby
Lashley. See, Lashley did say to us in our interview that he's going to, he's going straight after the title and the year is going to be about him and he's going to win the title. So, and a few things we heard him say off camera that made me think, maybe he knows something we don't. I think Lashley could play into the feud going into Mania or the Rumble, but I think right now it makes most sense to give it to Kevin Owens, even if it is a bit too obvious to reward him. Do you know what I mean? Because they would have had to have had this idea before he signed. So before he signed, would he have won the title? Would they have gone somewhere else? Kevin Owens. And he's been great lately, by the way. So he deserves it.
And never been WWE champion either.
And he should have, or not should have, because we like the whole Roman thing. But this time last year around the Rumble, especially because technically if there was VAR, he would have won the last man standing match. But also he was performing very, very well back then. And even then we were like, what's his position in the company? What's going on? He could be champ. He's kind of just like go-to. So I feel like rewarding him makes the most sense. Even before the whole contract scandal, he deserves rewarding, in my opinion, and for his performances at that point when he was help Roman get over. And since then, he's done. Logan Paul done great in that. Everything you've given him has been great, heel or face. So I think Kevin Owens being the champ is the way to go for me. As much as I love Big E, sorry, E, we had a great interview with you as well, and you're a lovely man. But the time is for
Best
Kevin Owens.
shout out ever as well.
Yeah.
Of course, yeah. Check that out as well.
Also, by the way, I don't know if any of you actually heard about Seth's. He's actually got a name change now.
I saw a headline, but I thought this is clickbait. I ain't clicking it. So you can tell me, so I don't give him pennies. What was it? So
the official new name change for Seth Rollins is actually Seth freaking Rollins is his actual ring name now, apparently.
What?
I mean, he mentioned it in front when he did
name.
the whole Christmas tree thing that I said mentioned, that promo. He mentioned it then, but I thought it was just because he was really amping it up. Oh, that's dumb.
Yeah. It'd be interesting to see how Mike Rome introduces him tonight, actually.
Yeah, well, he probably will say that then, yeah.
So I guess what? I guess
is that his name on? Is that his name on the bio on the website then, or is then like what's made people think that's the change? So where's that come from?
So it was. Yeah, I think it's something that he actually said initially made people think about it. I'm just trying to find the.
Maybe it was just that promo where he said "I am" or whatever it was he said.
Why did you need a middle name? That's stupid. What?
Like, and it's not new either. Like, it's about 5 years. It was on a T-shirt like 5 years ago. Like, I'm cool with using that as a kind of thing, you know. Like, but I don't know. This has come from the guy that loved the Brian Kendrick. So,
interestingly, when you go to WWE.com, his profile lists him as Seth Rollins. The first line of his bio does say, "This is Seth freaking Rollins," but when you go to there's an advert for him on WWE Shop that says Seth freaking Rollins.
Okay. Yeah. So they are definitely doing something. Yeah.
So they're definitely
and
something.
As I say, he's official. He actually took to social media and said that it's what's on his birth certificate is Seth freaking Rollins. So
you know what? If you're gonna make claims like that, fair play, do it.
Maybe it is. Colby.
Colby.
Maybe. Right. So where we're
at? And I'm the indie mark,
indie mark. He didn't call him Tyler, mate. That would be you, Rob. Rob would be like, "Oh, Tyler."
There was a point that Scott said that I was meant to answer before we went into this whole like detective Clouseau and stuff. What's his new name? But here's what I think happened. I think, and I'm piecing this together based on obviously the interviews that you guys did and around that show. I think that the Big E cash-in wasn't meant to happen when it happened. I feel that there was potentially another time for that to happen. I feel this because, you know, over the summer when obviously they were looking at the ratings, obviously, of the shows, when they had live fans back and when they were pulling the trigger on a lot of stuff, like we did the Nikki ASH cash-in. Honestly, does anyone even remember that happening now?
Yeah.
When they went through that and then they were having like cage matches on Raw and they were, you know, really trying to get the ratings up. They did it to pop the rating. And I think it's quite clear that that's what happened. But it's a case of how far along was that meant to happen. And so going back to then when you talked to, obviously, when you talked to Lashley around the time of November, I feel that Lashley was meant to be champion up until November because the whole press interview they did the junket they did, I feel would have. Because didn't you say you interviewed him last as well, didn't you, in the room? Like,
yeah,
it would have been geared up for him being the WWE champion and the last person in the room to be interviewed, is what I feel.
Yeah.
And just the way the kind of cards got set up with them all being champion versus champion matches and stuff, it kind of made it so that, with respect, like things had to be done as they would. I then feel that what's happened is Kevin Owens' situation's come up, and Kevin has most likely said, well, the only way I will stay is if I win the WWE Championship. And he knows, proven, with plenty of case records with these things, that if you don't get it straight away, they will just fob you off, and then release you, essentially. If we look at people that they've done that to, I mean, obviously the Jeff situation is a bit tricky because there's potential, alleged things that happened in his personal life. But if you look at the fact that essentially they released him midway through his contract extension after promising him loads and loads of stuff that he could do. He was sitting in this contract for a year and a half at that point, and they've not actioned anything. The Willow idea, they did give him no more words back, but they weren't giving him anything of what was promised. And so everything in WWE is about time, which would actually be my point, actually. Sorry, in terms of the Brock Lesnar thing. Brock Lesnar wasn't meant to be the guy to end the streak. He was just a guy that they had available. And we're at the stage now where, Kevin Owens doesn't need to, maybe this match wasn't meant to be when you're going to win the WWE Championship, but a guy's got to win the match. And this time the guy is going to be Kevin Owens. And he's forced that situation because of this contract situation, which, I don't want it to be overshadowed, because Kevin Owens is a phenomenal performer. But the thing is, we've known him for years. We've known him for absolutely years. The guy is an incredible athlete with what he can do. But I feel that, this piece of business that potentially could go down tonight, that could be because of this recent contract situation. As obviously him going to AEW would have a massive effect on both companies, essentially. So I'm going to lock in Kevin Owens. My second pick though would be Lashley, based on obviously previous conversations and just the feeling that, I get the feeling Big E wasn't meant to be champion from when he was champion to, and definitely not for that long anyway, but they kind of just rolled with it because, again, they're obsessed with everyone having a fair crack with the belt. But I don't really see a Mania direction for Big E, with this championship, which I know is early days and there's things that can happen. And there's obviously, like I said, the various roadblocks en route to WrestleMania. But at the moment, I don't see any of them really involving Big E. I'd say that we're probably more likely to get many other feuds for the WWE Championship above Big E being involved with them. So yeah, I will lock in Kevin Owens, who I feel deserves it, but I think it's just the timing. It's like you said, Scott, it seems easy, but sometimes easy is just as it is.
Yeah. It like we say, bargaining chip, yes, but at the same time, tell me a year ago that Kevin Owens also deserved to be a champion as well. So it's not just a bargaining chip, he's got the work behind it. So and since he re-signed, and even in that period before it became public, who knows when it actually happened, he's been amazing. So yeah.
By the way, we reach far and wide on these streams. We've got
wow,
Angel Antonio, I'm going to assume is the pronunciation.
Say that last name.
Thank you.
Sagatumer Rojas. Sorry if
we are so sorry.
That ain't sorry.
Well, Happy New Year from Guatemala, or Happy New Year to you from the United Kingdom.
Thanks for joining us. We really appreciate it.
And you are ready for day one. Well, we are ready for day one, but for us,
we've had day one, day one
only lasting
51 minutes.
51 minutes. And he also, like myself, thinks that Big E is going to retain the WWE Championship.
Okay,
so, what does Rob think, though?
It's annoying because I really want to see Big E retain, but I just don't see it on the cards. Same as I don't see Bobby Lashley. Unfortunately, I just think Bobby is there for an extra number to make it a fatal or 4-way. Which is annoying because he's. Am I good?
Yeah, all good.
Yeah, which is annoying because he's worth a lot more than that. But my thinking is, as Lucas was saying, there's something about Kevin Owens with, especially re-signing, as Scott rightly said, to do with what he done last year. It's weird saying that. What he done last year with the stuff with Roman, there was a few dodgy finishes with that stuff, especially the last man standing or whatever it was. So I think it's either going to be Kevin Owens or Seth Rollins, but I'm really unsure. So I'm just going to lock in Seth. I do hope it's Kevin Owens, but for the point, I'm locking in Seth. However, I feel these two together at the moment with what's been going on, there's going to be a point when Owens is going to turn on Seth and not the other way. So yeah, I think that's what that build is. But I'm going Seth Rollins.
Yeah, fair play.
Enough. Yeah, I think it's probably it is really strange. So we need to see. We've got a couple of comments here. I don't know, obviously, what we are actually. I don't know how true these are, but we've got Roman is out of day one. Brock's in the WWE title match. Yeah, not too sure. I mean, what
that is.
Yeah, we'll have to look into that, but I'm sure if that is the case, then we will. It is actually. It's on WWE.com. As per WWE.com, it has said.
Wow.
Per WWE.com, WWE has announced that Brock Lesnar will challenge for the WWE title at day one against Big E, Seth Rollins, Kevin Owens, and Bobby Lashley in the fatal 5-way match. Earlier today, Roman Reigns tested positive for COVID-19. So, we'll wait for Scott to get back. It's true, yeah. Roman has tested positive for COVID. Yeah. Roman's out of day one. It's a fatal 5-way. So, we will... Right. Basically, a lot's happened since you've been away.
What happened? Always you.
So, Roman Reigns is out of day one. He's tested positive for COVID.
What?
So, legitimately, the match it's now been confirmed on WWE.com that we are now going to have a fatal 5-way match for the WWE Championship, not the Roman Reigns.
Brock's in it.
So,
That's just really weird.
Give me one moment.
Wow.
Yeah, this is a breaking situation. So I'm guessing, obviously, it must have happened very kind of close to the time. Yeah, there we go. That's an official graphic.
Wow.
Official graphic from WWE.com, and obviously saying at the bottom there tonight. So we know that has just happened. And the article from WWE.com does read officially. It reads, WWE today announced that Brock Lesnar will challenge for the WWE Championship tonight at day one against Big E, Seth Rollins, Kevin Owens, and Bobby Lashley in what will now be a fatal 5-way title match. Obviously, first man to score a pinfall against anyone will win the title. Earlier today, Roman Reigns tested positive for COVID-19. As we've seen with many superstar athletes, the result has left Roman Reigns unable to compete in the originally scheduled defense of his Universal Championship against Brock Lesnar. WWE wishes him well in his recovery, as do all of us here at Rebellious Noise. Live from the State Farm Arena in Atlanta, day one will begin streaming tonight at 8 p.m. in the US. So yeah, breaking news coming in from WWE.com.
Okay.
Yeah.
So two things. First of all, I'm sure we all agree. You just touched on it there, but first of all, health for Roman Reigns. Hope you're all right, mate, and I hope you recover quite quickly. You know, this whole thing is no joke. Secondly, though, this is the first time publicly that we've known, at least, that it's affected, and I'm surprised it's taken this long, because it's happened in football matches, it's happened throughout the world, really, that things have had to change. Now, yes, behind the scenes, I'm sure they've changed a few matches and a few people got kept off TV or whatever else, and they've maybe got lucky with a few things. But this is the first time, right, that someone's literally been, and I'm not just talking 2 hours before the show, but in general, an announced thing has gone as, we can't do this because this person's caught it.
Yeah, I think it's actually one of the first times they've actually even mentioned COVID. Actually,
how's it taking this long? Like, I mean, wow.
I mean, because it was very obviously when it hit, obviously, you know. And again, I think I quite like the fact that WWE exists in the world for a long time where COVID didn't exist. You know, because they kind of went, well, we're going behind closed doors, and we're going to do wrestling, and you know, it obviously it was weird watching it without fans being there, but the actual product, obviously the storylines, there wasn't any kind of mention of it. The announcer didn't mention it. They had remember that period where they had bloody Ric Flair and Jerry Lawler like kicking around on Raw every week. But it's like, you're 70 years old, like just
you shouldn't be. Yeah,
send them home, you know. But then obviously eventually they got the people behind the barriers wearing masks, and it became apparent that COVID is now in this world. And obviously the reports about Vince obviously staying in his office last summer, during the peak of COVID over there. So it's like, yeah, this is huge. But I mean, so now I guess obviously we have to scrap our prediction for the Roman and Brock match that's not taking place. So now does it become a question of like, do we think our prediction changes for the match then with Brock in it?
Well, I mean, Rob's still got to do his prediction anyway. So would your prediction, Rob, have been any different?
Was that for the match that
fatal, what is now Fatal 5-Way? So would it have changed?
So I said yes and no, because originally I said Seth, because I think the way they were building it was going to be a feud between Seth and Kevin Owens. Saying Scott, as you were away, I said my idea would be that Seth would win, and then Kevin Owens would turn on Seth, building a feud for them. Right. But if Brock Lesnar's thrown in,
Jesus,
the only thing I can think of now is would they be willing to risk Brock winning that championship and then having Brock versus Roman and then unifying the championships and then really pushing Roman as the champion of champions, right? Is that something they want to do? Because at the moment, if he's got COVID, due to his illness as well, I don't know if that's something to do. But obviously, due to leukemia and obviously been in recovery and that, been in remission before. Obviously, his health is important, so I don't know if they'd go down that road right now. Obviously, I'd love to see that happen, but the only thing I can think of is if Brock is entered into that match, then I think if Brock's going in, Brock's coming out as champion. Do you know what I mean? In this instance, that's how you got to look at it. I don't know, man. That is. Do you know what? That's probably the hardest match to call now. I'm going Seth. I'm saying.
So you would have said it's Seth originally then?
So I said Seth originally, but with Brock coming in, I feel like maybe.
I mean, we should all redo that prediction, I guess. But you're saying you're going to stick to the same way anyway. Seth, I get what you're saying. That argument of like now it's going to happen, where they just go with it anyway, or do they go with the original plan? It's always tough when these things happen, but I guess that swings back round to you, Dan.
Mine wouldn't change. I don't think. I still think Big E will come out of it.
You still think,
champion? Just quickly as well, we've got someone here asking, "Is there no pre-show, Mitchell?" There is a pre-show, kickoff show. Even it's going to feature the match between Ricochet and Cesaro and Sheamus.
We need a team name.
Riddick.
We do need a team name.
Ridge Holland, sorry. So if you come up with a name for Ricochet and Cesaro, they're looking for a tag team name. So, that will be exactly what is happening on the kickoff show. Also, surprisingly, there should be, ironically, an Intercontinental title match which should have been on this show initially between Sami Zayn and Shinsuke Nakamura. But for some reason, it's been pulled. So whether they're going to re-add that, I'm not sure. But is it worth?
You sent me a thing the other day about the IC title. It's just not been defended on pay-per-view in so long now.
Yeah, because Sami won a battle royal recently. Yeah, he won the Battle Royal on Smackdown to actually win to win a title shot. So I don't know whether it's is it worth us maybe quickly predicting that in case it happens or not, or
well, it's not been announced, is it?
Yeah, it'd be a bit late in the day for him to put it on. And
yeah. I mean, the thing is as well, we can tell as well how quick this Roman Reigns news came in. Is the WWE banner actually says Brock Lesnar, Leasar. So it was
what the one we just had on the thing, or
no on their on their
website.
actual on their website.
Wow.
It's got breaking news: Brock Lesnar added to WWE title match. So whether that's one of the new signings,
well, that's legit, probably. You know, a very annoyed Brock Lesnar, and I don't know whether it is obviously Heyman who even though he's not going to be on TV, whether he has to deal with him. You know, I can't imagine Brock's probably too happy today.
Yeah, but this is the thing. I think he's been thrown in because of the whole, we talk about it all the time, but the whole, like, he's paid for X amount of dates, so just bloody use him. So I think that's why they've just gone, well, he's in this match then.
Yeah.
Any other wrestler would have been like, matches, that's it, cool.
Yeah, and I think there would have been other options discussed, for this, potentially. And Brock Lesnar is a guy who he will do what he wants to do, and he most likely... he if he didn't want to do a certain option, then there's not much choice. And if you only want to do one option, which was this, then like this is what they've done. But yeah, I think so. How I think about changes, I think, well, the original story of this match exists with the 4 people, right? With Brock not being part of it. And Brock had his own story going on, obviously with Roman, who obviously, again, I wish a speedy recovery. Hopefully he is. Maybe he's not even. Hopefully he's not symptomatic. So he's not got symptoms or whatever, and it is just going to be the typical. I don't know actually American protocol. If they're still in the 2 weeks or 10 days or whatever it is. But probably only 2 days in America. But yeah, like if he's going to be out for a couple of weeks and he's going to come back and they can resume this feud. And to be fair, a lot of the points that we were kind of saying actually about the match now actually make the situation a bit better, because we're not having to have a Roman and Brock match
this early on,
this early on, and we're going to have to wait for it, because again, this is an old program. It's not a new match.
The only way that does mess things up is if there was a big plan that involved the Rumble winner. That's the only way it might. But then even that they can.
Even then, if Roman's back. And again, it depends. Yeah, look, a lot of it depends. Again, it has Roman's health has to come first, and then they can figure out how they can resume the story after that. They've got enough time to do it. It's not like it's happened the night before WrestleMania. It's happened on the day of day one. Happy New Year, Roman.
So their protocol that they've got is that
is this the States or WWE?
This is WWE's one.
Okay. Yeah.
So, providing, obviously, we don't know people's vaccination status, but fully vaccinated WWE personnel will be asked questions and be observed before entering the venue, obviously required to self-report any symptoms to the medical team. Anyone with symptoms has to take a COVID test, and anyone who tests positive, like Roman, and is not vaccinated will have a minimum 10-day quarantine and heart testing before they can return.
Testing?
Oh, because the breathing, isn't it? The breathing problems it causes.
But anyone who tests positive and is vaccinated will be out for 6 days.
Okay, so similar to over here. We're 6 now, 7 days you've got.
Yeah.
And then on day 5, if personnel are asymptomatic for 24 hours, they must pass 2 antigen tests at least 24 hours apart before returning.
Exactly. So, except for the days, ours is 7. The same thing. It's 2 within 24 hours, isn't it? So
theoretically, we could still see Roman on SmackDown.
There's a chance. Yeah. I mean, it's strange.
He can record a promo at home, though, couldn't he?
Yeah, if he's if he's not struggling with any actual kind of symptoms and that, But I just find it really weird, because you think we're all talking about, like, Lucas's big thing was like, can Brock afford to lose twice? And I was saying, well, I think the Roman storyline is hopefully more important as far as what eventually will come from it. But then with this going, like, it was one thing for him to lose against Roman because of that storyline. It's another thing for him to lose in this match, where you feel like, if anyone can come in and just win the title, it kind of feels like Brock, but it would make no sense. He's in this Roman storyline. So Are we we're re-predicting this, right? You've already said yours, haven't you, Dan? You're still Seth. So I'm gonna still go Kevin Owens as well.
Fine.
But I'm very intrigued how they're gonna put Brock into this, because they've either put him in because he's like, look, I want to just work, or because of the whole contract thing. Like, it's really it'd be great to hear the insides behind this eventually. But for from an outside point at the moment, surely Kevin Owens is still going to win, or surely the original plan, whatever that was, will still happen. It ain't going to be about Brock winning, but it's such a strange thing.
I think they have to find a creative way to get Brock out of the match. It could even be the typical Roman music hits, and then Brock gets distracted and then goes chasing or something.
Yeah.
Or obviously gets buried underneath like loads of weapons and stuff. It's fatal 5-way. So
or the Usos take him out. Yeah, Usos take him out will make a lot of sense. I mean,
there's
sure.
Obviously, it's not elimination as well, so he doesn't have to get pinned per se. He can obviously just get taken out of the match, or just
the last one. He can
be he can have a last like flurry. But it's definitely an interesting one, this. But I don't see them changing from the original plan, because it's completely opposite things, this. I think if Brock had no story going into this match, then it's where he's more threatening, he's more dangerous. That makes sense. If it was just a 4-way and then on the night, now you got Brock Lesnar, it's Money in the Bank from 2020 or 2019, when Lesnar obviously ran in up the ladder last minute, big boss, you went. Essentially, the backstage story behind this, how this is, I'm actually really intrigued. I get a feeling that it is the fact that if Lesnar was on the plane, and I believe he is private, he's a private flyer. So if his plane was booked and he was already en route, I just think he's one of those guys who he just, I could just imagine him just being like, well,
I'm getting paid, so you better do something with me, sort of thing.
My plane's for tarmac, so I would just enter your main event whether you like it or not, basically.
We have got a comment section. No, we've Roman Reigns has actually tested positive for COVID. So Roman Reigns is officially, you can see on the ticker at the bottom of the screen, Roman Reigns is out of day one. Brock Lesnar is added to the WWE title match, which is now going to be a fatal 5-way. So also, I've got to just give a shout out, thanks to Thomas HCAFC on here for actually, he was the one who actually brought it to our attention. We obviously did quickly do our due diligence to double check the information, but he did inform us that Reigns tested positive for COVID.
Thomas.
Literally like
out of day one, and Brock is in the WWE title match. So thanks a lot for for pinging that information over to us while we're live on air. And also, Sumas de Santos say Roman Reigns.
That's it.
Unfortunate, obviously, that we don't get to see Roman, but we can just echo the sentiments of, I'm sure, everybody else. And we hope that it's a mild strain of COVID that he's got, and we hope that he is obviously back in the ring as soon as possible, doing what he loves and what he is doing so well at the moment. And
I guess it kind of like one positive, it kind of drags it out, like we said, towards Mania, if that is the plan. So then maybe the plan was Rock. Who knows? Is this
day 4 main event, Dan?
When's Smackdown? Down since day 5-ish.
How much does it mess up realistically? Are they backstage going, it's cool because the next big thing to happen was going to be an X pay-per-view anyway? Or was I really do think
honestly
Heyman was going to get involved, but I think that will still come. That will come at another
WWE 24 episode on this day would be what we need right now. Because that's the only way we get these answers to the questions. Because it could be that they're just cool with it, because end of the day, Brock's still in a match, and if they're keeping Brock happy by him being in a match with people, then fair enough. And I think we're seeing some new combinations of Brock in here, this one as well, because I don't think he's faced Owens or done much of Owens. I don't think he's done anything. He's done obviously faced Seth, obviously, as we know,
and a multi-man match as well.
Yeah, he's not his Big E. So there's some interesting new combinations which people have been screaming for new Brock and new combinations and stuff, and we're potentially getting them. I can't wait
the Lashley thing as well.
Brock and Big E showdown.
Lashley.
Brock and Lashley,
This is a great chance. It'd be so weird, as much as it would ruin my points and stuff, if they did make him win the title somehow, because Heyman, like they just went with the story in another direction. Like Heyman actually went, I'm with him. You know, and maybe that was what they were going to do. Heyman was going to screw Roman or like whatever. You know, we're all thinking he's going to help prove his point to Roman and prove his, you know, allegiance. Maybe it weren't going to be that. Maybe he was going to help Brock, and they thought, you know what, we can't do it this way, so we're going to do it in a way, even if Roman involved, we're going to help Brock win. Like a weird, you never know. Like it's, but then again, to take the title and that whole like Rob's idea of unifying the title, like they're not going to make that decision on the fly, are they? So like unifying the titles, unless again something was in the plan. They thought, well, we're going to do this anyway. But man, this is why the build-up shows are so good, guys. Indeed. Thank you for everyone that's watched this tonight and watching on demand tomorrow as well. I know we've had a lot of views for the last 2 build-up shows as well after the fact, which we are very, very surprised about. So thank you very much for those that watch even after the show to just hear our points and opinions, because we talk a lot before the show, not just about the matches coming up, but also about the state of the industry in general. So it's been really good to do that again. And yeah, I think back to Mania when we were like, is the show going to happen because of the thunderstorm? And now we're still, you know, on these build-up shows, you can still get these exciting kind of moments.
Yeah.
I'd say a day after February. I'm thinking if you're asking about what time the show starts, depending on where you are in the world, for us in the UK, it's at 1 a.m. So in about
90 minutes time.
Hour and a half.
An hour and 30 minutes time. It will.
We got the pre-show before that with the tag match between the tag team that needs a name, Cesaro and Trevor, against
the other tag team that need a name.
Yeah, Rich Holland and Sheamus, the new bar. Yeah. But yeah, look, I'm really looking forward to the pay-per-view.
We're at bar.
No, I'm really looking forward to this pay-per-view now. Actually, I
do we
feel
think
that
this could be a work?
Latest...
Like, do we think it could be just like a story thing? Where, because
chance.
The thing is, where they've never mentioned COVID now, they're just going to be like, right, okay.
Not a chance.
If anything, I reckon it could be Roman who's talked Vince into actually using the COVID word. I think they have
honest about it. Yeah,
I think Roman just said, "Look, no, you have to finally just admit that it's happened, Vince. Like you can't be like, I got attacked backstage. Where? Like,
yeah, because it would have to be a crappy storyline
like,
thing.
Oh, I didn't want to show up. It's like you're universe champion. Like, you know, I mean, there's no other.
And it was the first like real feud that we could tell was coming up next. Like, their match, but you knew there'd be another. So
exactly, there's nothing they could do but to use the real thing in this scenario. But yeah, I'm really excited. Like, I think, you know, going back to something I said right at the beginning. So if you're watching this on repeat, like a weirdo, then you're.
Hey, don't be rude, man. People enjoy this stuff.
But I mean, yeah, like if you're watching it on repeat, then something I had to do much earlier on. For me, it just feels like it's a big pay-per-view, and like there's actually a build and reason for pay-per-view to exist more than just selling the gimmick. And I'm really genuinely excited because now the match has changed and the dynamic of this match has changed. And, you know, I think personally WWE always work better when they are under pressure, you know, because when they're under pressure, it's when they have to finally put faith in their performers to perform and wrestle, because they can't hide behind writers and behind 101 different things that go on in that company. They have to just accept that, look, this is what's happened. The only way to save it is for our in-ring product to be good. And they have to turn to the people that are involved in the in-ring product, aka the wrestlers, and say, go out there and wrestle. Go out there and do the job you're meant to be paid to do. You know, but then, you know, and with Brock being added to a match, it's so exciting. It's so different.
When he's the one to make it exciting as well.
Because usually his matches are announced months in advance, aren't they? And there's no jeopardy to them because it's just Brock. It's a Brock match, isn't it? As much as I love Brock. I
always go back to the match he had with I think was it Seth Rollins and John Cena, the Royal Rumble triple threat match. Was it John Cena with him? Fantastic match, because no one knew how that was going to go, because it was a multi-man match and the new version of Lesnar. You know, like you forget what you used to do back in the day in his first run, but. Yeah, that's one of my favorite Lesnar matches since he's come back. I thought it was fantastic. So tonight could be so, you know, refreshing.
No, it should be good. It's going to be good.
Yeah.
100%.
We've got Jimmy again. He's in Dubai right now. So the show will start your time at 5 a.m. So
wow.
5. So this match
could have gone to bed and got up.
So yeah, this match will probably be I would say around what 7:30.
Breakfast time.
Yeah. While you're sitting there eating your cornflakes, this match should be happening. So and then we've also got the deal with WWE's going to have to pull off some. I mean, to be fair, the only they've got.
I mean, the card's filled.
It's literally one match that's changed, and they'll probably just what time they would have given.
What I guess the argument could be you could give
match.
another. Yeah, I guess there's that. Yeah, because 2 matches
just gives someone else a bit of time, doesn't it? Really.
Yeah, but maybe this is where they, like you say, Dan, add in that was it IC title thing you were questioning.
Yeah, the possible IC title. I mean, I'm just quickly I'm flicking back to WWE.com as well,
just in case it gets added. Yeah.
In case The Rock's been added to it.
You're welcome, Jimmy. Thanks for joining us. Please subscribe. Check out more of our content.
Yeah. Lucas, have you got your gear? Can you get over to Atlanta in the next couple of hours?
Can you get Brock's private plane?
Yeah, he picks me up en route, maybe, isn't it?
Yeah. He's on
a little diversion.
Send up your little bat signal. It all seems to stop.
Yeah, I'll give you petrol money.
But yeah, I think we've kind of at the end of what we discussed now, I guess, isn't it? Now the part of the enjoyable part, hopefully watching the show and watching them hopefully smash out the park tonight.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm more excited or less excited. That's a strange thing. Because I was excited to see what happened in both those things, but
they trimmed a match off.
But I'm only more excited if something weird happens, like Brock does win, which I don't want to happen at the same time.
Something weird has happened.
No, but something more weird because I wanted Reigns and Brock, and I wanted this, and I don't think it's going to change what either storyline is. So at the same time, like this is probably the most exciting part.
Yeah, but
not the match. I don't know.
I mean, I think the match is going to be good.
We have to go back to the fact that the performers will shine in this. Like I think.
Yeah. I hope they make stuff up on the fly between now and then. Go. You know what? Lashley, do the face-to-face.
There's still at least 3 hours.
Yeah, like do stuff like that.
With some of the best minds in wrestling.
Maybe Heyman will still come out and run down there, and Brock chases him off. Or we got to have something to do. Yeah.
We've got another message come in. Reigns is we have touched on that. So I mean, if people are have just tuned in, the initial Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar match is now off due to Roman Reigns testing positive for COVID-19, and what was the fatal 4-way match between Big E, Seth Rollins, Kevin Owens, and Bobby Lashley has now been changed to add the Beast Incarnate to the match. So Seth Rollins, Brock Lesnar, Big E, Kevin Owens, and Bobby Lashley will all battle it out for that WWE Championship.
Which means Brock is no longer technically dodging Bobby Lashley, like Lashley claimed in our interview with him. So technically,
and if you haven't already seen that, then go back over to the Rebellious Noise Pro Wrestling channel. You can see interviews with Bobby. It ruins what we were saying as well, because before the announcement of Roman Reigns, this match was a match where we had done stuff for each of the guys in it, obviously interviewing Big E.
Oh yeah.
Kevin Owens.
Except for Seth.
Bobby Lashley. You did a video trying Seth Rollins' suits. But yeah, if you haven't already, as we say, guys, go back and check those interviews out. We have also got interviews on there with Tommaso Ciampa, Damian Priest, the United States champion, and Doudrop as well, another one who could maybe soon be getting a name change and going back to
really
Piper Niven. Yeah, apparently WWE have now they have filed a trademark for the name of Piper Niven, and there's
I mean, again, check the interview out because she kind of sells me on the character at least. Because I was, you viewers from the past know I was not really quite a fan, but she sold me on a few things and it made sense. But it's interesting to see that. I mean, it's an awful name, isn't it? So,
you know what? I think the name change, or if they're going to log in like another name, it possibly came from the Crown Jewel thing. I think it's one of those names where Doudrop sounds fun, but then you get to the fact that you're you're trying to make history by having the first ever, they call it the Queen's Crown thing,
Queen of the Ring.
The final featured a person called Doudrop, and this has a history box.
And they've got to know themselves that they're not going to stick with that name. Like, surely we all see it coming that she's going to change eventually, right?
Yeah, that's the thing I'm saying. Like, I mean, it being just a character on Raw that was, meant to feud with Eva Marie, like, fair enough, and throwaway matches. But then it actually happened to be part of a history book of, what was the final, the first Queen of the Ring or Queen's Crown. It's now locked in. You can only ever be the first once end of the day, and it's now in the history books. And then someone probably seen that and gone, "What the hell? Like, why have we got someone called Doudrop legitimately in the final of this historic tournament that we want women to talk about?"
But at the same time, has Zelina done much since Eva? Like, I mean,
she's a tag team champion with Carmella.
There you go, mate. I ain't got a clue what's going on. Right?
Yeah.
Did you know
and
that,
also,
Lucas?
Yeah,
I knew you're on the same page as me with watching highlights, but what?
Yeah, I knew they won the belts. Saw the clip of them winning the belts.
No, I didn't.
And also, did you hear a while ago when Rhea Ripley had her bag or something?
Yeah, Damien Priest lent her.
Yeah, and she had to wear Priest gear. So apparently, her title belt has turned up on Facebook Marketplace or
really?
a website where people.
Could that not be like just the replica though?
No, it's the actual, like, it's the one with, because I don't even think they sell both of them, but it's the actual belt with her plate on one side, Nikki's plate on the other side.
Oh, okay.
And they've said, like, it's like an official, and like obviously all the, like,
literally going to the world, "Hey guys, I'm a thief. Would you like to buy what I stole?" Or at least going, "I know a thief, and would you like to buy what I..." Like, you're literally, like, if you, like, famous paintings that get stolen over the years, like, they don't just go, they go on a black market, man. Facebook, like, come on, guys, think about this.
But yeah. So I think that's probably a good place to, I guess, wrap this up, boys. And then we can, because obviously we're going to be eating into your cooking time soon.
Oh, yeah, we don't want to do that.
Yeah. I think, do you know what? It was kind of preemptive, it was good that we had that one for the, obviously the recap and review. It's a good thing we did have this one for the build-up as well, the plain one, because I guess that one wouldn't really fit now.
No. Well, it does, though. It still explains what people are interested in, the fact that Roman's not about, and,
Exactly. So, yeah, we are going to, I guess, get on out of here. It's getting a bit late here in the UK. As you know, it's
about to be day 2.
Yeah, this is a super late night for me. Like, I'm normally tucked up in bed with about 2 or 3 hours sleep under my belt by now. So it's the first time I'm actually sitting, I think, and doing one of these. So,
old man Dan.
This has been fun, yeah. Old man Dan. It's not just a gimmick; it's a way of life, guys. But yeah, anyway, just want to say thank you to everyone that's left comments in the comment section. Don't forget, like, share, subscribe over at the Rebellious Noise Pro Wrestling channel. Thank you to Scott, Lucas, and Rob for joining us. Thank you guys at home for watching as well. We'll see you soon. Enjoy day 1, whatever day it is in your country.
We'll see you on day 2. Well, yeah.
Yeah. And a happy new year as well to everybody.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
See you later. Bye.
Oh, Champagne Charlie
is my name.
Welcome to the Rebellious Noise Pro Wrestling channel. On this channel, we bring you some great content from inside and outside of the squared circle. We will go through and offer some in-depth analysis of the biggest events of the year, as well as bringing you exclusive interviews with some of the industry's biggest names. There will also be live show reviews, in-depth features, and podcasts. So make sure you give that subscribe button a slam so you don't miss any of the action.